I'm Yoshi Lomax, superstar attorney at law and fugitive.
So, you're the famous Yoshi Lomax.
Probably more infamous. I'm on the run from the federal government for crimes that I didn't commit.
Gentlemen, I'm Deputy U.S. Marshal Sharon Starr. I'll be taking things from here.
Not to mention being on the hit list of at least 3 of Miami's major crime bosses.
I wanted to apologize in person for leaving so abruptly last night.
Welcome back.
That's Vladimir Kuznetsov, a Russian crime boss. He's been a suspect in over a dozen missing person cases.
I mean, I didn't get here to be this successful for doing things the American way.
I need a list of the jury for my case with Honshu.
Oh, really? What's that worth to you? Oh, my God, you're such a good...
Mr. Santana is to be released upon processing.
So what do you know about Sheldon Chisholm?
What do you want to know about him?
I really need to know if you're going to take my case. I don't have time to play, Miss Lomax.
Money is not a problem. You know anything about his case?
It's being handled by agents in my field office.
I've learned that in this game of life, in order to win,
Ready to dance?
you gotta play dirty. You might look at me and see a beautiful, confident, successful woman.
Congratulations, counselor. Yet another win.
But underneath, I'm flawed. I'm broken. And I'm scared. So I have no choice but to run until I can find a way to clear my name.
Miss Lomax is now considered a fugitive of the United States. Catching fugitives is my business, which makes her my suspect. You and your associates are relieved.
Look. She killed one of our own.
But I will not give up.
All right, people, listen up. Get a picture of Miss Lomax out there so the public knows what she looks like.
I will not give in.
Okay. People, we got a game plan. Let's break and execute.
I will not get caught.
Time to go hunt.
Real talk.
Hey, I'm Gina Lou, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hey, what's up? It's Logan Browning, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Real talk.
Hi, this is Alana De La Garza, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, I'm Diane Franklin from Better Off Dead and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. You're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Real talk.
Hi, this is Monique Dupree, and you are watching Real Talk with the Director on Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, I'm Stormy Maya, and you are listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Real talk.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And nothing less. What's going on, people? Welcome to another edition of Real Talk with the Director and the Jedi Council. I'm the Director. Be with you for the next 120 minutes or so. And Real Talk is brought to you each and every day, every Monday by Dallas Radio, the Andy Morel. We broadcast live via the World Wide Web on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, Twitter.com via Periscope. Another Monday, people. Welcome back. 23rd. Is it 23rd? Yeah. 23rd of November. Happy Thanksgiving early for everybody that celebrate Thanksgiving. You know, we get a lot of You get a lot of mixed emotions about that. So either way, happy Turkey Day, whatever you want to call it. Family Day, whatever. I just look at it as an opportunity to get together with your family. And if you can, this year is going to be a little bit different. Thanks to our little friend. And that's very sarcastic when I say that. It's not really a little friend. COVID-19. They're going to change things up a little bit. So I urge everybody, if you are, a little bit weary, a little bit nervous about the COVID-19 thing, use our beloved technology and visit your family virtually. There's nothing wrong with that. I myself plan on holding a little virtual family get together with my family from, both sides, my mother, my father's side, stuff like that. We've had family reunions and things of that nature. And obviously we can't do anything like that. So it's not going to be a really virtual family reunion, but it's going to definitely be a family thing. A little family check-in, holiday check-in. That's what we'll call it. Family holiday check-in. I urge everybody to do that. Jump on Zoom, do a little family holiday check-in. That'd be what's up. And greetings to everybody in the chat room. Comes through. We appreciate you. Charmaine's in the building. Joseph Tanner, as usual. Shout out to No Nonsense. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you very much. Today we'll be doing another versus battle. Shout out to Heaven Hollywood, of course, my brother, big bro. The heavy hitters always coming through and representing, showing love. I really appreciate y'all. We'll be doing another versus battle today. This will be another battle of the directors. The provocative films of one David Fincher. And for all of you who don't know these people by name, I appreciate that, Charmaine. She said, "We got you, Wes." Said, "Yeah, we got you." That's what up. So if you don't know these directors by name, you got David Fincher, who's famous for films such as The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Other films like The Social Network, the film about Facebook, which we are broadcasting on Facebook Live. The film about how Facebook, this tool that we've all grown to put as part of our lives, how it began. From the mouths and the minds and the eyes of how it began, of the creators of Facebook. David Fincher also did more provocative films such as Gone Girl. Awesome film. I mean, he's got a lot. And then, of course, Christopher Nolan. If you don't know him for anything else, you definitely will know him for the Batman Begins trilogy. Batman Begins, Dark Knight, the Academy Award-winning Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises. But of course, let's not forget Insomnia. When you have two greats, the late great Robert Williams pitting up against the great Al Pacino and Hilary Swank, Academy Award winners. That was all Academy Award winners up there. Then you got that was set in Alaska, where it doesn't really get dark. It stays daylight a lot. Inception, another film from Nolan. So he's like, I said, the provocative films of David Fincher versus the intricate mind of Christopher Nolan. You know, you have films like Inception, Memento, yeah, Tenet. These are all films that make you think, mind screw you. You know, that dude, Christopher Nolan, man, he loves to mess with your mind. He loves doing films like that. I mean, the fact that he did The Dark Knight and Batman and all that stuff, it really surprised me that he took those on. And he did such a good job with them. But it surprised me that he took them on because, you know, and the funny thing was, because of the type of like mind-bending style that he has, it really surprised me that he wanted to approach the Dark Knight series or the Batman trilogy. And he never wanted it to be a trilogy, but the Batman trilogy that he did, he wanted to approach it from a very realistic angle. He didn't want to call, you know, it's bad enough you have to call him Batman. He didn't want it to be campy. He didn't want it to be like some of the earlier films that we will not mention. He didn't even want it to be as campy or comic booky as the Tim Burton films. Even though the Tim Burton film was dark, because that's Tim Burton. He's dark, right? But he wanted to be like in The Dark Knight Rises. He didn't want to. He never called Selena Kyle by the name Catwoman. She was never called Catwoman in the film because he thought that was too campy. It was too he wanted to be realistic. Like, he wanted you to think that if I was a billionaire, I could do this. I could go out and be a vigilante and fight crime. That's what he wanted you to think. He wanted it realistic. Like, you know, the Batmobile was very like based on the prototype of like a real vehicle, like almost like a tank, like a military vehicle. You know, he didn't have many gadgets. You know, Batman was known for his gadgets, right? The batarangs. I mean, he did have a batarang. He made that, but he didn't have a lot of gadgets. You know, he had, you know, Batman, Bruce Wayne / Batman's true superpower is he's rich. As Ben Affleck said in the Justice League, he said, "What's your superpower again?" He said, "I'm rich." So that was pretty much a superpower. But on a serious note, you know, as far as that, he wanted it to be more realistic. Even the villains, like the villains that he chose, he didn't want to take a bunch of villains that everybody see. Well, he had to do Joker. But every villain that he chose was approached from a realistic angle. The Batman Begins, you had Scarecrow. Scarecrow was more realistic. Jimmy Ace in the building. What's going on, man? Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. Maddie, what's going on? Thank you for joining us. Usual suspects. So he wanted to cover. So Scarecrow was very realistic. Even Bane, when he did Bane in Dark Knight Rises, Bane was nothing like he is in the comic books. Bane in the comic books is this dude, this big brawler. He was brawler, but he's this dude that he shoots this like serum type thing in him, and he gets real brawler. Like Nolan's like, nah, we're not doing that. That was too unrealistic for him. So he just got a really good actor, made him probably shoot a couple of cycles of steroids, and he got super brolic for the movie. So there you go. That's what he did. And as you can see, Joker was very dark. He, the way the late Heath Ledger played Joker was very, he was very dark, obviously. A little more serious. Wasn't really. He was funny in his own way, but he wasn't funny like Jack Nicholson's Joker funny. Like Jack Nicholson's Joker funny was he was funny and a little bit silly, like that type of thing. But Jack Nicholson's Joker was like, there's so many different incarnations of Joker. Jack Nicholson's Joker was like the gangster mob boss Joker. You know what I mean? This one was more like the sociopath Joker. That was Heath Ledger's version. And these are all versions we've seen in comics and cartoons and stuff. I mean, even Jared Leto had his own version of Joker, which has been kind of depicted in the comics. I saw a specific comic book. It was actually drawn by Jim Lee, and I'm not sure who did the story. I don't know if it was Frank Miller, but Joker had all of these tats on his body, and he was kind of in shape, looked like he was working out. I was like, I've never seen the Joker like this. He was drawn, but it was really, really interesting. I think Jared Leto kind of took a little bit of that and tried to make it where he was like, with all these tats and this, that, and the other. So everybody has their version of Joker, but Nolan wanted to do it from a serious standpoint. So it just really just surprised me that he took that film and went on a serious note when he does everything else with a mind screw. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not very realistic. I mean, Inception it's not realistic. But it was great. So we'll see how that flows. And yeah, we'll go from there. So a couple other things going on. Not much in the movie world, but I know that I'm trying to find that dude here. I had the page up here. Black Panther has cast the star from Narcos. What is the dude's name again? Trying to find, but they're casting him as a villain. And let's see. And people are trying to figure out what they cast him as. I don't know who he's going to be yet. Some people are saying that he is going to be Namor, aka the Submariner. And for people who I don't know who pays attention to Marvel Comics, DC Comics, whatever, I'm gonna keep it real simple and plain. If you don't know who Namor the Submariner is, just think of him as Marvel's version of Aquaman. Think of him that way. I'm just saying that. Now he's badass now. And that's the most simplest term. It's way more complex than that. And he's a more, he's definitely a very intricate character. But for lack of a better comparison, we'll call him Marvel's version of Aquaman, right? But he is, he's the prince or the king of Atlantis, and yeah. So he is, has some history with the Black Panther. So they're trying to bring that in. It leads me to believe that they're definitely going with the Shuri storyline, where Shuri takes on the mantle of the Black Panther, because that's pretty much where they're going to go with. They're probably going to have the Black Panther die, and the Submariner or the Atlanteans are going to be blamed for killing them. And this is just my theory. I didn't read this anywhere. I read, a few things, and I came up with that theory that's probably what they're going to do. Because in the comic, he was put in a coma, and when Shuri took on the mantle. So I don't think they're going to put him in a coma. If they put him in a coma, then expect them to recast the character in the near future, within the next, 2 to 5 years. If they kill him, that's them saying, okay, we're not recasting Chadwick's part. We're just going to move forward. That's how you know. If in the next film the Black Panther's put in a coma, like in the comics, Shuri takes the mantle of the Black Panther. And I was reading theories about Shuri finding ways to because if when we last left our heroes in Black Panther, we Eric Killmonger actually destroyed, spoiler alert, he destroyed the heart-shaped herbs, all the old garden that way they grew the heart-shaped herbs, and so no one else can get the Black Panther power. It was if it wasn't for Lupita's character, Nakia stole one, and that's how they brought back T'Challa, which leads me to believe T'Challa dying is going to make Shuri recreate the heart-shaped herb, because if they had it, they could have saved him from dying. They could have brought him back, because that's what they did in the first one. He died, basically, and they brought him back with the heart-shaped herb. So if you don't have it now anymore, thanks to Killmonger, now if he dies in battle or he gets injured really badly and then he dies, I think what's going to motivate Shuri to recreate the heart-shaped herbs, and then she's going to then take on the mantle of the Black Panther, because it'll be too late. T'Challa will be dead, and then she can't, whatever. These are all theories, people, my theories. But you know how I get with my theories. I've been right with Power Book 2. I've been right with some of my theories. So, you messing with the mind of a storyteller. I said that woman, that teacher, was going to get involved with the student, with the basketball player. I called that from like episode 1. I called it. Maybe episode 2. I said, yeah, she's going to get involved with him. Soon as I found out, I said, oh, yeah, she's a sex addict and this, that, and that. I'm like, she's going to, at first, me and my brother discussed it. We were like, is it going to be, I said, she's not going to get involved with Tariq. I said, she's going to get involved with that dude because he's like, a little bit older, a little bit, whatever. He just seems more realistic to get involved with him. And once you saw he was pushing up on her, that confirmed it for me. So I was right. I was right on with that. I don't know if any of y'all was around when I made that prediction, but I made it. And I was right. I made a couple other bold predictions that have not come to flourish yet. But it may not even come out in this season, but they've already been set for, greenlit for a season 2. So they might wait till then. Or Courtney, what's her name? What is her name? Courtney, whatever her name is. She'll probably once again hear my theories and change them like she did with Power when I was putting my theories out there about Tariq being Kanan's son in real life, being Kanan's son actually. So it's all good. So you're listening and watching. You're watching the director. You're watching Real Talk with the Director and the Jedi Council. I'm the director. Forgot the name of my show for a second. Getting old. I brought my Jedi Council with me. Here's one half of them. Ralph, you in the building. What's good?
Hello, everybody. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving early. Hope everybody is safe out there. Be safe this year.
Yeah, happy holidays, everybody. I'm just trying to see if hopefully Kev, he'll be joining us soon. And yeah, man. So the battle we got today lined up is pretty decent to really, you know what I mean?
I just wanted to comment about this whole Black Panther thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know the Black Panther storyline from the
That's fine. That's fine.
But I'm looking at this strictly from the film point standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it would be wrong to bring Siri as the Black Panther because to me, it's not uncommon for, especially now we're talking about Marvel movie, it's not uncommon for an actor to be to have a role and to be replaced in a role. I mean, that was done with the character of Rhodey. Rhodey had someone else be replaced, the original person that did it. And yeah, you can sit there and make the argument, well, Rhodey was a background player because he is a background player. However, that's even more reason why to just recast the role of Black Panther. And if you want to do the storyline, do it for Black Panther 3, right? You can you can put the footwork into Black Panther 2 to change over from Siri from Black Panther to Siri. But I think it's just kind of, and I'm not trying to say it's not disrespectful to Chadwick Boseman. I'm not saying that. I just think it's kind of wrong to the fans of the Marvel universe to just whack him out and you're only doing this simply because of the fact that he passed. Now, if Chadwick Boseman was still alive, they wouldn't even be thinking about bringing the Siri line right now. It would be somewhere down the line. So I think for right now, it would be better to recast the role, and you could still do we know Black Panther 2 will do well. If you want to do, as you said, you froze Black Panther and Siri Black Panther got sick for some reason and you froze him and Siri took over the role and then you resurrect him. That's fine. Just recast the role. Unless Marvel or Disney is in the saying, we can't find anybody to recast Chadwick Boseman. We can't find someone to fill his shoes. If that's really what you're saying, and I would sit there and say, I might agree with that, but that's not the reality. The reality is you can recast him.
I think to be honest with you, Ralph, and I actually am, I disagree with you on that. And the reason why is I believe because the Black Panther is so right around the corner for them to start working on it and shooting it and stuff like that. They've already, they had already started preliminary stuff, story and scripts and stuff like that, even before Chadwick passed, right? I believe that because it's so close, it would not be a good move to recast Chadwick Boseman because he's so in everybody's mind. It's just like they, and on top of that, I think they want to do a little bit of a homage thing, a respect thing. It's just like when Paul Walker died, right? They didn't recast his role. Paul Walker died, and they with the Fast series, right? They did not recast his role, and they had 3 movies after he died. I think they had 3 movies after he died.
No, they had one movie.
One? I thought they had at least 2 more movies after he died.
One movie.
Okay, well they got another one that they just shot though. That's coming.
Well, okay.
So there's 2.
There's 2. But even with that one,
let me finish my thought. So my point is this: they didn't even kill him in the storyline. They just kind of just wrote him out, but they never killed him in the storyline, to my knowledge. I'm not a big Fast fan for the series, but from what I've seen, they didn't even kill him out of the story. So my thing is, I think if Black Panther was 5 years away, they would recast him because it gives you time. It gives, just like, for instance, the X-Men, right? We all know we've said there's a couple of the X-Men from the Fox that we would mind seeing in the MCU, but it ain't gonna happen. Why? Because those movies are 5 years down the line. They want you to get these people out of your minds before they bring it back to the screen. Black Panther is right around the corner. They're set to start shooting that, or they were set to start shooting that next year. To start shooting it. So it's too close to recast that character with another actor that people have no idea how he's going to do in the role. Now, it's best when from a film standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, when you have a sequel to something that did very well, you're better off taking characters, working with your characters that people know. Not now, obviously you know Black Panther character, but it's just like you don't know him if you have a new actor playing him, because people are so got Chadwick Boseman burnt in their brain, and then the next person that plays him, God help him, because now they're gonna be like, it's gonna be like Jared Leto when he played Joker. They're like, what? But look, how many years later, Phoenix plays Joker and completely reinvents the role, wins an award. But had, who knows how good this Joker movie would have done had it came out a couple years after Dark Knight. You understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying. The Joker thing with Heath Ledger. I mean, because in between it, you still had Jared Leto, which was they were going to show the Joker from a different standpoint. You're not doing that with Black Panther. And I do get what you're saying, having another actor step into a role when they're not that far removed.
Right.
I'm going to put it to you like this, and maybe this is a little different, but I'm going to put it to you now, like sports. Okay, you may have been rooting for the Lakers. All right. Now we all understand things happen, but Kobe Bryant retiring from the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
If he retires, someone still got to play his position. It may not be Kobe Bryant, but you still replace the position.
Of course,
right.
I mean, but
even in the aspect if the player had died, even if
he would have died, you got to replace him. But the difference with that, see, from a sports fan standpoint, is a whole nother level. Because you root for the laundry, right? You root for the laundry. You don't root for because you can have if you're a fan, you can have a player that you hated yesterday get traded to your team. Now you love them. Why? Because you root for the laundry. You root for the team, not for the player. Of course, you root for the player because they're on your team. But once they leave your team, you pretty much stop rooting for them. Or once,
I agree.
So it's not really.
That's why I said it's a little.
I see your metaphor, but I think it's very different on that aspect, because yes, if you're just gonna say, okay, yeah, you got to think about the type of fan. Now, even let's remove comic book fans, bro. Movie fans that love the Black Panther, I guarantee it's already been emperor. A lot of people say, yeah, okay. Some people's like, I don't care, recast him. A lot of people are like, yo, nah, man, you can't recast him, man. Chadwick, blah 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 blah. So I think what they're gonna do in this case, it's not we root for the laundry. Whoever plays Black Panther is cast as Black Panther. We're gonna love him. No, whoever's casted Black Panther, God help him. Because he would face a lot, even if it's 5 years from now, he's going to face a lot of adversity, criticism, and so forth. I don't think it's worth doing that, the second film.
But would this not be the same scenario as if Chadwick Boseman didn't die? He said, hey, I just don't want to do it. And then you're going to replace him. You see, you just don't X out the character.
No, it ain't X. No, I see what you're saying, but here's the deal. Remember, I don't know, last year sometime there were rumors that Chadwick Boseman may not return to Black Panther. They were saying that his contract was up with Marvel. He hadn't renegotiated it yet, and I mean, comes to find out, we probably know that it's because of him being sick, and he knew he was sick, but. Everyone was thinking, okay, it's the money. They may not pay him money, so they may have to recast him. At that point, when all of that stuff was going on, they were already talking about moving to the Shuri storyline, if that was the case. Because then, once again, instead of dealing with the potential backlash of recasting the character, let's just say Chadwick Boseman lived. and he just didn't come back for whatever reasons, contract, whatever, creative differences, and they said, okay, instead of, because it's right around the corner, let's go with the Shuri storyline, because we can always recast Black Panther later. So we can go to Shuri storyline, put Black Panther in a coma, which happened in the comics, and we can bring him back in the third movie with a new actor playing him, which they may be able to do as well. Because let's not forget, we're dealing in the world of comic books, the world of Marvel, and the world of Black Panther, where the heart-shaped herb can raise him from the dead. So they may do that later.
But this is the problem I see with your theory. You're coming with the theory because you are a fan of the comic book, so you know that storyline. So you know, hey, this is what happens in the comic books. Once again, everybody like myself is not hip to what is going on in the comic books. So but
they're dealing with characters that know.
Wait a minute. Let me finish. Like that whole scenario you just said, whoever was to replace Chadwick Boseman got hell to pay. You can say that same thing for every single person that replaced Sean Connery as James Bond. You can say the same thing for Andrew Garfield that replaced Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, and whoever replaced Michael Keaton as Batman. The same argument, the fan backlash. We don't want this person playing it because you're just seeing, oh, you're taking Adam Sandler. He's going to play the next Black Panther. Now we're going to say, come on, you guys are crazy. And I know I'm crazy. I'm saying Adam Sandler, but
I know what you mean.
Until you actually see, like right now, how many times have we done this show over the last year and a half? When Glitter Man, Robert Pattinson was announced as next Batman, we were saying, hey, that's crazy. I don't want to see that. It's going to be crap. Then we saw that little
teaser,
we saw the little acid trailer of a little student concert. Said, okay. Then they had that little promo that says coming 2021, and we was like, See what I'm saying? So right now, you still got those fans going to sit and say, we don't want to see Robert Pattinson as Batman. But now the movie comes out, and now the thought changed. But you still but the situation, you still roll the dice. You're going to have fan backlash regardless. And from your standpoint, let's sit there and say they go ahead with that fan. Now, in the times that we live in now, what do you think the backlash is? If you say, wait a minute, you guys changed the Black Panther from Boseman to Siri, right? And now you want to change it back to the original Black Panther. How many strong female comic book character leads do we actually have running a movie? And now you want to change him to a man? You're still going to get that kind of backlash. So no matter how you do it, you're going to get backlash.
I don't think so. I mean, like I said, that's just a theory. But what I'm saying is the fact of the matter is, in these times, to go with what you just said, in the times that we are in now, Shuri being the lead of the film, a character and actress that they already know, that the fans already are acquainted with and love, taking the mantle of the Black Panther, that will be a successful move for Marvel. That will be a successful move, and that movie is going to make
I'm not down the fact to be successful, but here's the question: will it be successful as the first one? That's possible. That's
very possible. Very possible. I don't know. Obviously, we don't know the answer to that, but I could say that I think it will be. I'm going to say that yes, I think it will be because I'll tell you why. There'll be two reasons why. Number one, people are going to be coming to the film just like with the Paul Walker situation, right? People are going to be coming to the film to see what does Marvel do to honor Chadwick Boseman, because once they've already come to grips that they're not recasting him right now, they're going to say, okay, how are they going to honor Chadwick Boseman in the movie? People are going to come see that. And the fact that, once again, Shuri is a beloved character. You'll be bringing back the other characters, and now you're introducing a new villain, the Submariner, Namor. That like I said, that's another thing that's going to bring people out. So trust me, and they're going to tie that in. They're going to tie in all of this storyline. And like I said, my theory was just my theory. I think that Shuri because they have a theory that, because remember, the heart-shaped herb does not exist anymore because Killmonger burnt them all, except for the one that the girl stole, and they resurrected Black Panther. This is all from the movie. This isn't comic stuff. So now, which makes me think from a storytelling standpoint, would make sense of if he dies, why they can't bring him back, because they don't have the heart-shaped herb anymore. But then they're talking about there was a couple of rumors that Shuri supposedly figures out how to recreate the heart-shaped herb, or the Black Panther serum, whatever they get from it that makes it the Black Panther. But I believe that obviously she ain't gonna do it in time. I believe that the death of her brother is going to motivate her to recreate the serum or recreate the heart-shaped herb. That's going to motivate her because they didn't have it when they needed it, when he died. And like I said, this is purely a theory of mine, but I think that's where it's going to come from. And then she'll probably even play part of the film in the Black Panther outfit, in the suit, and rely solely on the suit, because she may not even have the powers of the Black Panther in the beginning, like when she first takes the mantle, which creates adversity, which is what you want to do when you're storytelling, right? You have to create. It can't just be easy, right? You got to create adversity. So adversity for her would be she gets the mantle, but she doesn't have the heart-shaped herb. So now she only has the suit, which the suit is dope, but you can't do all the jumping and running, and you ain't got the strength because you don't have the heart-shaped herb. You don't have the strength of the Black Panther. And then probably later on, once she figures it out, whatever the case may be, and then she gets it. So I believe I believe it will make the same amount of money if it don't do better, because of the female lead. It's going to get a lot. It's going to get the exact same support that it did, and probably more now that there's a Black female lead superhero character, Black Panther, and it's organic because it's not nothing made up out of left field. It's something that people can take their opportunity. And you know what they're going to do, like they do with all their movies when they want to inform people. They're going to release that comic book so people can understand, okay, this was in the comic. This is authentic. They didn't just make this up. They didn't just pull this out their ass. So they're going to release that comic book. They're going to promote it. They may even release the comic book with the film. You know what I'm saying? Right before the film, like as a companion to the film. Like they've done a lot of different films to introduce you to storylines, but now
I
half agree with you. I do believe that eventually they will recast the Black Panther if they want to keep doing. Recast T'Challa if they want to continue any of his storylines. But being that we're not going to get the X-Men till at least 5 years down the line, they got time to work it out where they can bring T'Challa back into the picture. Because just because they bring T'Challa back into the picture doesn't mean that he has to become the Black Panther. Because no, let me finish. Don't say that, because he gave up being the Black Panther. When he came back, when he married. So the reason why I'm saying is when he was in the comic books, when he became when that whole thing came with Shuri or whatever, it was times where he came back and he wasn't, he didn't have the mantle. So they could still do that. You see what I'm saying? And maybe if they want to introduce Storm later down the line, I don't know how they're going to do that, but they may not go with that, with him and Storm and all that stuff, how they can introduce mutants. But they're going to introduce mutants now through, I believe, Captain Marvel. Well, that movie's going to come out before Captain Marvel. Doctor Strange, they're going to start introducing the mutants. Yeah. Now, Captain Marvel 2, the villain is said to be Rogue from X-Men. Rogue is the mutant that can take your abilities. She can touch you and steal your abilities. Now, once again, that's another storyline. I mean, let's not get it twisted. Whether you're a fan of the comic or not, guess what? All of these storylines are from the comics. So eventually you'll just get used to them because that's where they're from. So yeah, Rogue, everyone mostly knows Rogue from the cartoons, right? And you notice in the cartoons she flies. You know why she flies? Because she held on to Captain Marvel at the time she was Miss Marvel and put her in a coma, and she stole her powers, and she held on to her so long that she never let go of the powers, and she actually has a lot of her memories too.
Yeah,
now,
see, even with that one, that's not in the X-Men films.
No, it's not. Because remember, they want you to forget about all of that. Get that out your mind. That's gone. It's dead.
But think about that. But with that one, if Rogue had the ability to fly, right?
She only had the ability to fly after she stole the power from Captain Marvel. That's what gave her the ability to fly. That's what gave her super strength. She actually held on to her so long that the power stayed in her. Even though Captain Marvel eventually regained her powers, Rogue kept the power of flight and strength because she held on to her so long, to the point where she put her in a coma and took all her memories. She woke up and had amnesia. She didn't have no more memories. All the memories are in Rogue from holding her. Because Rogue was introduced as a villain, which she's going to be introduced in the movie as a villain. Remember, they're doing everything over. They're doing it the right way. Because the Fox X-Men movies were very inaccurate. They were very inaccurate in story and origins. So, Rogue wasn't introduced the way they did it in the Fox movies. Some little girl who was, friends with Wolverine. I mean, yeah, she does have the relationship she develops with Wolverine, but she was introduced in the comics as a villain. She was with, Mystique. Mystique is her mother. Mystique raised her. So she was part of Magneto's Brotherhood of Mutants. She was part of the Brotherhood of Mutants because Mystique is like her adopted mother. So she came in as a villain. So that's how they're gonna do. That's how they're gonna introduce her in Captain Marvel. She's gonna come in as a villain, and and then obviously eventually she becomes an X-Man or whatever. But yeah, they're just gonna do it. They're just gonna, so that's why Kevin Feige said don't expect he said don't expect any MCU X-Men movies for at least 5 years. 5 years down the line. He wants you to get that shit out your mind. Get the Fox X-Men out your mind. It's not what really happened. So therefore, he's like, we're gonna do it right. We're gonna do it right. And that's what they did. I mean, that's what they're gonna do. So we'll see. So I think what we're gonna have to do this time around, I think we're gonna rely on our third voice, because unfortunately Kev is not, he's under weather. He's not gonna be able to join us tonight. So I think our third voice, we will rely on the chat room. You guys, if me and Ralph,
you guys ready for that?
If you guys ready for that, if me and Ralph come into a stalemate, if I pick a movie and Ralph picks the other movie, now it's 1 against 1. You guys are going to have to be the deciding vote. Obviously, if me and Ralph both pick it, that's how it would be anyway. If Kev was here, we move on to the next one. But if Ralph goes with one movie and I go with another movie, we're going to need to defer. We're going to poll the audience like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. We're going to ask the audience, who do you think?
You're supposed to ask the audience for a lifeline. We need some help, but not today.
That's the only way we can do it. Otherwise, we don't do it. That's the other thing. So I don't know. Was Joseph Tanner says, which deciding votes that Mr. West Clark? I said, well, okay. Maddie says, can I phone a friend? Can you phone a friend? Oh, you mean like if you don't know? Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Let's be honest, Ralph.
At this stage, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say this: the two directors that we're talking
a lot
about,
of people gonna know these
Fincher,
movies. Yeah,
yeah, you all
should know.
of you. Let me get this right. All of you should know these films. If you've never seen Fight Club, you got a problem.
Yeah,
if you've never seen The Dark Knight, you got a problem.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. These two directors happen to be they're more recent directors. You know, like
Very
within the last
mainstream. Very
10,
mainstream.
20 years. Very mainstream directors, both of them. Got a lot of mainstream films. I believe if we even come to, I believe, to be honest with you, Ralph, we probably will be on the same page on a lot of these. But if we come, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We will see. We may not. Yeah. So yes, all of you should know these movies, at least some of them. If you know, it's like I said, Fight Club, Dark Knight, you know, Batman Begins, The Social Network. If you ain't seen The Social Network, then you don't even need to be on Facebook.
Yeah,
get off Facebook.
If you've never seen Social Network, just delete your account
Social
right
Network.
now.
Delete your Facebook. Matter of fact, Zuckerberg, Mr.
Facebook,
Zuckerberg,
Instagram,
you
Snapchat,
need to delete anybody who's never seen The Social Network.
Right.
Because, you know, you just should. It's like, you know, there'll be a couple that maybe people that might have slipped by people. Maybe Zodiac might slip by people. Zodiac was a pretty popular film too, but that might have slipped by a few people.
But all of both of these guys, right? All of their movies have, beyond the fact they made a crap ton of money, a lot of the movies that they've made have somehow slipped into the social consciousness. You know, Seven, what's in the box? You've heard that. Fight Club. First rule of Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club. Second rule, you don't talk about Fight Club.
You don't talk about Fight Club.
like you've heard these things, and maybe you didn't know where they came from, but you
references, they're like pop culture references,
right? So that's what I'm saying.
So let's test the audience. All right, even though you just said it, let's see if they were paying attention. Okay, chat room, get at me. What's the first rule of Fight Club?
Wow, that's not. But that's the case. All of you should know some of these movies. I'm sorry, but if there's anybody in this chat room who's sitting saying, I never heard of The Dark Knight, I'm telling you, get off. Stop watching this program right now. Stop it. Right. I'm just really
there you go. All right, we got Jay. Good, big up Jay Hodges. Well, you know he's gonna know all of this stuff anyway. Don't talk about Fight Club. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Right, but I'm this. If anybody tells me I've never seen The Dark Knight, stop watching this program right now. Sesame Street is on channel 13 right now. Go watch Sesame Street.
PBS.
Yeah. No, you know what? If you've never seen The Dark Knight, you don't need to be watching Sesame Street. You need to be watching Masterpiece Theater or something like that.
Start from the beginning.
Right. Because somehow, and I know somebody is saying, Ralph, how are you gonna say that? I'm gonna be honest with you. And this is me talking. There are certain movies, right, that depending on what year of life you're in, at that stage you should have watched. Or if I find anybody that tells me they've never seen The Wizard of Oz, what? You've never seen The Wizard of Oz, right? If I see someone that tells me, I'm gonna say that you never saw Star Wars, huh? You never saw Jaws, what? No, there's just some movies there's just some movies
I mean,
that transcend the word movie.
unless you're a Gen Zer, then they don't care to watch old movies.
But even with the Gen Zers, the Generation X, Generation Next, or whatever you want to call it, the
Gen
21st
Z,
century
Generation
crew,
Z. Yeah,
my generation dumbasses, you still have heard of these films.
yeah, they may not have seen them. They've heard of them, but they may not have seen them.
I'm gonna be wrong with you. You still would have seen it because now, like when Weston, I'll tell you why. Because like when Weston and I were kids, right? Television, and I said this someone the other day. Television at 2:00 in the morning used to have static. There was no broadcast channels.
It went to color bars. It went to color bars first.
Into color bars, right?
And then it actually went off. Television actually went off at one point.
Off the air. It went off the air for like 2 to 6 in the morning. It was off the air.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But Wes and I are pre-streaming, pre-DVD, pre-VHS,
pre-Betamax,
pre-cable,
pre-Betamax, all of that stuff. Yeah, because all like I said, stuff. we go back with I remember back in my days.
I remember when TVs used to be shot in black and white.
I remember when TVs used to go off the air. It was color bars and static.
I remember the first television I had. In order to change the dial, you had to get up, turn the knob, turn the dial.
Now, I swear to you, this is funny, and I'm not gonna get off topic here, but this is work with me. My grandkids, yes, my grandkids. I have grandkids. My grandkids, I swear to you, I remember I asked one of them to actually get up and turn the TV on. I did it on purpose. I should have taped it. I should have filmed it. This was a social experiment. She got up. Yeah, she got up and she walked and she was like, she looked at it for like 5 minutes and I was like, "What's going on? You gonna turn it on?" She's like,
"I don't know how."
Yeah, how do you turn it on? I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "There's something called a power." She's like, "Where's the remote?" And I'm like,
"Yep." Where is the remote?
I'm like, "Where's the remote?" I'm like,
"But in our days,
what if the remote breaks?"
Right? You actually had if you wanted, you get all comfortable watching a TV show, and when it went off, and let's say he's watching channel ABC, you had to go to channel CBS. Oh, and we're also from a time when you was just ABC 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. That was it. That's all the TV you had. You guys got like 1,000 channels, streaming services. We had seven. Seven. That's what we had.
Which is one of David Fincher's movies tonight.
Yeah.
If it's another one if you haven't seen.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. At this stage of your lives out there, all of you should know these films. Okay.
Yeah, I think for the most part they're all known. So what we'll do is we'll get ready to mosey on and bring and this is a short one actually. I only did 10 films because like I said, these two filmmakers are they're fairly new. From our standards, fairly new. You know so they actually don't have too much more than 10 films. David Fincher started as a video director, a music video director. So he directed one of my favorite videos that he's directed a lot, but one of my favorite music videos that David Fincher ever directed was the George Michael song Freedom, where he set the six supermodels. Yeah, all of Naomi Campbell and there was a bunch of them. Yeah, there was a bunch of them.
Chris, what's the name? God, the girl with the mole.
Rebecca. Not Rebecca Romaine. Cindy Crawford. Cindy Crawford. So they had all. So people who may or may not have seen that, George Michael had a song called Freedom. That was his song. That was his coming out song. That was a song that when he came out. and let people know that he was homosexual. And he had a song called Freedom, which was basically kind of like he refused to be in the video, right? Because and so David Fincher, the brilliant man that he is, this was also Michael's idea. That he wanted to get the models, because I think if he wouldn't have asked them personally, they probably wouldn't have did it. He wanted to get the models to lip sync his verses and lip sync the song in his place in the video. And David Fincher so cleverly shot it. It was so beautifully shot. And I remember when I first saw it, I was like, a filmmaker shot this. That's what I said. I was like, there's no way. The lighting, the composition, I was like, a filmmaker shot this video. I was like,
George Michael didn't shoot it. He didn't shoot it.
I was like, this is not, no disrespect to Hype Williams. There's no little X Hype Williams. No, there's no video like music. Even though Hype Williams did become a filmmaker, but this is no music video guy video. This is a filmmaker video, and you see all of the lighting, the color tone, the composition, perfect. David Fincher. So he has a lot of stuff. If you look him up on IMDb, he has a lot of titles that he directed, but he only has about 10 to 11 films that he actually directed, feature films. Mm-hmm. So same thing with Christopher Nolan. He also directed other things, but his feature films, he's produced a lot of films, but his feature films, he only got like 12, 11, something like that. So I just went with 10 and 10. So we will, let me bring this thing up here, man. That's another thing. Let's get this thing rolling. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Let's put
since you're saying that, although I did not watch it last night, I'm still a wrestling fan. Rest in peace to the Undertaker. 30 years, man. That's
yeah. Well, you say rest in peace like he died. He actually retired finally.
But 30 years in that business is like, wow.
Yeah, in that business, it's successful 30 years, not like 30 years as a bum, Right. He wasn't, he
originally went 21-0 at WrestleMania. And it was his decision to lose. It wasn't that they took away. He decided for the best of the business, I'm going to lose to this man, right? That's big.
Chevier says, back in our day, we used pliers to turn the channel. He's damn right. You ain't never lied, Chevier. We used to use, because for some reason, the knob that was made on TVs was made very cheap, and it broke every time. It always broke. It would never stay on. And what happens is it come off, and you probably lose it or something like that, or just break off, and it can't latch back on. So you have to turn it. Now you have this little thing. You got to use some pliers and go in there and turn the channel.
And TVs used to be these big monstrosities and God forbid if you got another television, you would take the old TV, leave it there, and take the new TV and put it on top.
Yo, that's too funny. Yo, I'm laughing because that is so true, man. We had a big TV. They used to have something called tubes, people. Yeah. That actually made the TV. That's how TV worked. All right. Before LCD screens, there was tubes.
HD 4K. Tubes.
Right. There's tubes. So we had a huge TV. This TV was big. I don't even know what because those big TVs back then was like cabinets. You could put all types of stuff on top of them. So instead of moving that big,
your parents put flowers, pictures.
Instead of moving that big monstrosity of a big behemoth of a piece of equipment out of your house, you got a new TV. You just put it on top of the other TV.
Put it on top. And here's the funny story. It always seemed that when you had the original television, you got the new television. The new TV somehow was smaller. But just a tad bit, but smaller. Don't ask
and
why.
I don't know why, and then you put it on top. Jimmy A said he saw the Undertaker farewell last night. It was awesome. Nice. I wish I would have saw it. I didn't get a chance to see it. The Undertaker has always been one of my favorite wrestlers. Very, very, very simple. Anybody who's known me from my wrestling days, not like I wrestled, but how I used to follow wrestling. It was always for me, The Undertaker, Randy Savage. Those were really my guys. Randy Savage and The Undertaker, and I like the Ultimate Warrior. Those were always my guys. Wasn't never a real big Hogan fan. I always liked Hogan, but I was not a big fan of Hogan's. Like I didn't hate him. I didn't really love him, but I didn't hate him. I just didn't like him when he was beefing with Randy, with Randy Savage. That's when I stopped liking him. And then I actually liked him when he turned bad and went to the NWO.
He was better.
I liked him as Hollywood Hogan.
No, but Randy Savage, I mean, I actually liked him when he was a bad guy compared to
me too.
Me too. Ooh, yeah, and he was like with the glasses and this is Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yep.
He would, and that flying elbow was devastating.
Florida. He's from Sarasota, Florida. Isn't that
yes,
him?
he is.
Yep.
And that
Sarasota,
flying
Florida.
elbow was devastating.
Oh, that was the joke. That flying elbow drop was the that put you down, boy. That was my joy, and of course Hogan kicked out of it because the Hulkamania was running wild.
Yeah,
but I was always with the madness. Yeah. That was I was part of that team. But anywho, so let me share the screen. And she said Hulk Hogan was better on anything else but WWE.
You know
That's
something?
funny.
You know something? Yes and no and yes. He was not better on anybody else but WWE, but he was actually better as a bad guy.
Right.
You just didn't
I
see
liked
coming.
him as that character. Yeah, you didn't see that coming. I thought that was a great change. That was like how everyone felt when they saw Denzel in Training Day. They was like, whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hulk Hogan's a bad guy?
America.
Which people don't remember. Once again, we're I'm an old head. Hulk Hogan came in as a bad guy.
Yes, he did.
He came in, which a lot of people are introduced as heels and then they become faces. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
Stone Cold came in as a different character, but he came in as a bad guy. And even when he became popular, he was still when
getting
Stone
cheers
Cold,
though. People still cheered him because he just
when
didn't
Stone
give
Cold
no
first
fucks.
he was still a bad guy. He didn't take no crap from nobody. And then he never really became a babyface. He just became a fan favorite. Now John Cena was.
He said he wants to know when's our favorite moment. After you finish your thought, we'll say that, and then we'll get to the thing. My favorite moment, I could tell you, that I'm probably a little biased because it's Randy Savage. My favorite wrestling moment was WrestleMania 4 at actually the Trump Plaza. That was at the Trump Plaza. Donald Trump was there. They did it at the Trump Plaza, but that was the tournament. That was the first ever tournament because it
was like a Final Four type of thing.
Right. The belt was vacant because of the $1 Million Man robbing, He paid Andre the Giant to fight Hulk Hogan. And Andre the Giant, when he finally got the belt from Hulk Hogan, he gave it to the $1 Million Man. And you can't do that. And Jack Tunney was the president at the time, and he said, the belt is now vacant. I remember him saying that. And they had a tournament. In that tournament, Randy Savage, he won. Who'd he beat? I think he beat the One Man Gang. He beat Brett the Hammer Valentine.
Greg the Hammer
Valentine. And then he beat the One Man Gang, Greg the Hammer Valentine. And
did he beat the Honky Tonk Man? I think he beat
Then he beat the $1 Million Man. That's what he beat. Because I thought he had someone else he fought in there too. But I don't know. But anyway, he beat the $1 Million Man and won the belt. because Hogan helped him though. Hogan did help him.
Yeah, Hogan did help
because the $1 Billion Man had Andre out there. Andre was out there and tripping. And Randy went up. Randy was going to win that fight. He was going to drop the elbow. And it was going to be over. He went to the top to drop the elbow, and Andre tripped him on purpose. Tripped him. And then he told Elizabeth to go get Hogan. Elizabeth went back, brought Hogan back from behind stage, and then Hogan sat there and watched it. And he ended up hitting Andre with the chair. No, he hit DiBiase, I think, with the chair. Because DiBiase put the $1 Million Dream on him. It almost ended the match because he put that $1 Million Dream on him.
Yeah, it almost ended it. Yeah, I remember that. See, I'm gonna take out the person that I was with. I'm gonna take her out the scenario because hers is historic. But I think for me in this, because I'm more the modern era, it would be WrestleMania. I believe it's 17. Hulk Hogan versus The Rock.
That was great. That was a great moment.
Because, and not so much for the match, but because of the stuff that led up to the match and the pieces in the match were like, this is the new guy going up against the old guy who, even though he was an older guy, he wasn't frail. He was still at the height of his popularity. And to see the crowd that was all Rock go to Hulk Hogan and then come back to all Rock, but then go back to all Hogan. That the back and forth thing, it was like wow, and it's. I mean, you get WrestleManias where you have the top names always wrestling, but at some point you get kind of like you can see a match tomorrow, Triple H versus Bret Hart. I mean, we're used to that one, but we've never saw that type where you had someone from the real rise of wrestling to make it popular. Going against someone that's now constantly popular in the match.
It was a great passing of the torch type of match because with The Rock facing him and the one thing the WWE, and I always say not the one thing, because let's face it, you can like or hate the guy, but Vince McMahon, he's an asshole, but he's brilliant. All right, he's brilliant from what he's brought this federation to. When it was the WWF, stuff like that, he made it into the World Wrestling Entertainment, whatever. Yes, he's a jerk. But my point is, from that standpoint, you give credit where it's due. Who
plays him in the movie? When they did the Vince McMahon movie, who's going to play Vince McMahon? And what era? Who's going to play Vince McMahon?
Nobody play him. It's going to be him. He keeps getting the plastic surgery, so he looks younger every time anyway. So he's gonna play himself. He's gonna be 80 years old playing a 20-year-old version of him.
You know who I could legitimately see playing if you do this like another 10 years. I really see Brad Pitt playing Vince McMahon. It's something. I
see John Cena playing him.
Nah. Maybe with the rock jaw.
Yeah, you're saying he's kind of built no chance. He got that with the strut. I can see John Cena playing him actually.
Yeah. But if it was gonna be a Hollywood guy, I see Brad Pitt playing him.
Maybe.
Right.
It'd have to be soon.
If there ever is a Vince McMahon movie about him,
a biopic about Vince McMahon, that would actually be interesting. It would be interesting.
It would be. I'd pay $10 to go see it.
I would see it because it would be interesting. Because as long as it's authentic, because Vince screwed a lot of people over. Vince screwed a lot of people over. It'd have to be like a unauthorized biography because I don't know if he'd sign off on everything. You know what I'm saying? But for him, someone to play him, that would be interesting. I mean, there's a couple of cats that's coming up. Who else would probably be able to pull? I don't know. They probably get some British guy who will pull it off. Wait, playing Hulk Hogan. Let's see how he does with that.
Hold on. How about this? Hugh Jackman as Vince McMahon. Physically, he got the physicality.
Oh, of course, he got the physicality.
He certainly can do the English accent.
Yeah, you can do a regular American accent.
You can do a regular American accent. You know, he's got the bravado. If he took some of that Wolverine nastiness mixed with the wrestling, yeah, maybe.
You know what always amazed me. What I would want to know about Vince McMahon, honestly, is what clicked in his mind. What made him decide to step in front of the camera? Because remember, for a long time,
he was an announcer. He was
just an announcer. You know, but we knew he was behind the scenes pulling strings, but he was doing the announcing and stuff. He never decided. I'm like, what made him decide? Okay, I'm gonna become the bad guy of the whole federation, and take on this. You know, use this persona, which is probably his real persona, but still, you know, use this persona and step in front of the camera a little bit. You know, because let's be honest, I didn't know if it would work. But that rivalry he had with Stone Cold Steve Austin, that was real shit. That was dope. That was a great storyline. The Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon, that was a big storyline.
That was a big deal. A big deal. But I think beyond WCW, I think that for Vince to really come out and take the back row was the push that wrestling needed. Because it needed something bigger than the wrestlers. It needed something that was huge. So the whole idea is like, because Stone Cold was like the working guy, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of us
he represented. That's what he represented. He represented the working guy.
And none of us like our bosses. Nobody like, realistically speaking, most people don't like their boss for some reason. So now you got this working guy that's going up against his boss, and he's knocking his boss out. He's like, "What? Wait a minute!
What's going on?"
Hold up.
Yeah.
And
I mean, but Vince. Now, Vince. Let's be honest. You know, the WWE has definitely. Me and my brother discussed this the other day. The WWE has definitely gone. They've crossed the line a bunch of times. They've gone overboard with some of the characters. We were talking about this character the other day. Who remembers this character named the Boogeyman? Yep. This dude would freaking be eating worms.
Remember, he came out with the voodoo stick and his face was covered.
I said, "Oh man!" I said, "They're going a little too far now. This guy eating worms in the ring."
Yeah, I remember.
And I'm just sitting there like, "Oh my god!"
Yes, remember the whole storyline where where Vince was messing around with Trish Stratus and he was cheating on his wife and his daughter didn't like it.
Yeah,
and then they tried to spin the whole storyline where Vince was actually going to start messing around with his daughter. And then somebody said, "Whoa, wait a minute. We
can't do that.
Because that's too crossing the line." But
that's just too much. He would have did it. Vince gives no fucks. He has no fucks to give to nobody.
As long as the fans are happy and it puts asses in the seats.
As long as it puts asses in the seats and it sells tickets, he's going to do it. When he was doing the hot lesbian action, stuff like that.
All of this church and all that stuff. Yeah,
all of this stuff he did. Vince McMahon.
All you that watch wrestling now, there's a lot of things that wrestling in the late 90s, early 2000s used to do that they don't do anymore. They
they used to go wild.
Like and really because when I started
they used to always remember at one point they used to always pull like Trish Stratus bra off, like her top would always come off, like that was like part of the thing. Like you got the
bra comes off,
watching those pay-per-views just because they wanted to see one of them bras come off.
Show me the puppies.
Yeah.
Show the puppies.
Show me the puppies.
You know, they would have the mud wrestling matches and Jello wrestling. They don't do none of that stuff more because now they have shareholders. But the best, and then like me and my ex-girlfriend, we used to have wrestling night at our house every Monday night through the sound system, and it wasn't the matches; it was all the like the interviews and stuff. I mean, come on, you got Stone Cold coming in there in the Zambowski. Or coming in with the beer truck and spraying everybody down with this big beer. You know, those were the moments that made wrestling hot.
Well, and I kind of can you kind of remember when they first started doing the first actual? I mean, they always did promos, but I remember the first there was two there was two promos from way back in the day that kind of was kind of going over the top. And I'm gonna close this out with this so we can get to our tournament. So it was Mr. Perfect's promo, like, you know, his intro before he came into the league. You know, because he was I remember Mr. Perfect's intro.
Flex.
He came every time you saw him, he was doing everything perfect. He golfed the perfect game, hole in one.
He threw the perfect pass.
He threw the pass to himself. Remember, he threw the pass and then he caught it. And perfect. He bowled a perfect game.
Yeah.
Strikes all the way through. He played pool. He pitched perfect game. He played pool, knocked everything off in like one shot. Perfect. I just thought that was so hilarious. And then the other person I remember from way back in the day, and I was like, who the hell is this guy? Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh, yeah.
He was literally mopping the floors. He was literally mopping the floors. I'm gonna clean up the WWF. It was WWF at that time. Yeah. I'm gonna clean up the WWF. Oh, he was like tough guy. Yeah, he was one of those dudes. And he used to. I'm like, why does this keep showing this dude? You know, sweeping the floors. Who is this guy? And then he used to come out with the 2x4. And every time, that was back when, you know, Russia and America was having issues. So what did Vince McMahon do? Like the brilliant asshole he is, he capitalized on it. He had Nikolai Volkov, Nikolai Volkov singing the Russian national anthem, and every time he did it, Hacksaw Jim Duggan came out with the 2x4.
Yeah,
he said, "Every time you sing that Russian national anthem, I'm gonna put this 2x4 beside your head." It was just great.
You know who? There was a guy that I like around 2000, 2003. This guy named Mr. Kennedy. He used to come out, right? He's coming in the ring, and they drop all the house lights, and the microphone would come down. He was like, "Ted Kennedy, Kennedy."
Oh my God! It's just the characters are hilarious, and you know what I think though. You got NXT now, which is kind of like the minor leagues, kind of, right? Yeah. NXT actually shoots at my school, Full Sail, the Full Sail campus. You know, I've attended a couple of NXT wrestling, and I tell you, man, the diehard wrestling fans. I didn't know not one person in there. Just the one that I went to one time, Triple H was there because that's like his thing. You know, he kind of like the ambassador for it and stuff. And Triple H came, and a couple other people like from wrestling that I knew, but I didn't know really none of those wrestlers. But they got their own set of fans, man. It's wrestling is so big, and even now they're wrestling in empty stadiums. They were wrestling in empty stadiums. They're still selling tickets, man. They're still selling pay-per-views.
I got it on television right now. Come on, the Thunderdome, 2 men into 1 man leads from Mad Max. They took that and really did it.
Just really did it. 2 men into 1 man leaves. So let me share the screen here. So now, for everyone who, just to remind you of the versus rules. There are no rules. All right. No, the versus rules are obviously we're just going to go for tonight. We're going to, Ralph and I will go over the films, and we'll each pick a film that's against each other. I usually just pick the films just like I did with this one. I went right down the line in order of how the years that they made the film. I didn't want to pit a certain film against a certain film because I think that's a little, too biased. So for me to do that, I'm going straight from that was his first film, that was his first film, that was his second film, that was his second film. So that's how we did this one. It was a little bit easier because they both only had that I used 10 films. They both had like maybe 11. We needed an even number. So here we go. We have the provocative films of one David Fincher versus the intricate mind of Christopher Nolan. It's a battle. All right, chat room people, I need y'all in on this in case we need y'all. Y'all pay attention now. Okay, let's get it started.
Okay.
Let's get it started. So, for number one. This was David Fincher's first feature film. He stepped in and made Alien 3 into an already great franchise. He decided to make Alien 3. That was his first feature film. And listed as Nolan's first feature film is Memento. So let me just see if let me bring up something. I might have a little. Got Alien 3, right? Fincher Alien 3 versus Nolan's Memento. Of course, I got this little ass thing. There's Memento versus Alien 3. There's a little thing from it. Okay, let's get it on, like Mills Lane, right?
All right. I'm gonna say this one. Right. This is my problem with the first battle. I'm going with Memento, but I'm gonna tell you why. I remember when the trailer for Alien 3 came out, and they were saying that they gave the idea that this was going to happen on Earth. That made me excited. Like, oh damn, the aliens coming to Earth, and now we really got to deal with it. But the other reason I'm gonna knock Alien 3 is that the version they put in the theaters is not the version that should have went. It should have been the director's cut, which is on DVD and Blu-ray. That's the better version of the movie.
I agree.
It makes more sense. Yeah, you get some kudos for cutting off Sigourney Weaver's hair. She really did cut her hair off. They gave her another $1 million as they cut her hair off. She was like, okay, where do I sign? No.
Yeah.
But if it would have been where now you bring the aliens to Earth and Earth got to deal with it, I was all in. The version what we saw, I was, and then after seeing Aliens, it was really like a big step. The theatrical version was really a big step down. It's like, no, you kind of sort of went back to the first movie where it was like, now you have her in this prison, getting picked off one by one. No, and honestly, the alien in the movie really didn't look that scary compared to the first two movies. I mean, the first time you see the alien in Alien, you when it's grown, you're scared out of your brain. This one was like, nah. But Memento, I mean, the whole movie is basically in reverse. It's backwards.
Yeah. Oh man, it's
you're
different.
at the end and trying to figure out how it started. Usually, we're trying to figure out how to end it. No. I'm gonna give you the ending, and then he's got to figure out how he got to this point.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Something totally, and what he did, he came and gave you something totally different.
He did. He gave you something different, and like I said, it's that intricate mind of Christopher Nolan that really did it for me. So I mean, I'm gonna go with Memento as well. I think he had a way better debut film. I mean, not to knock Aliens 3. I didn't think, like you said, the director's cut, I think of it was a better film. But yeah, I'm going with Memento.
And they don't ever play the director's cut. That's the messed up thing with the director's cuts. No. Right? When they put it out on DVD or VHS, or whatever, they put out the director's cut. But when it comes to television or better yet, cable doesn't play the director's cuts. Television, when movies used to come on regular broadcast channels, they would play the director's cut because they need the director's cut to fill up the time before commercial. They need that stuff, right? But when it came to cable, they never show it. Like the only way you ever see the director's cut of Alien 3 is to go buy if you got the original when it came to DVD in the box set. If you get it now, you just get the theatrical cut. So you're actually robbed of the theatrical cut, which is a shame. And the same thing with Aliens. Aliens has a director's cut, but unless you get the Blu-ray, you're never going to see it. You're never going to see it on television, TBS, whatever. You're never going to see it.
So but Christopher Nolan takes the lead with 1-0. Chris Nolan. Okay, so number 2 on the list. David Fincher, 7 versus Christopher Nolan's Insomnia.
Man, it's called Cutthroat for a reason. I love Insomnia.
Yeah,
I love it. But 7, man,
7.
I ain't never. I you know what? I saw 7 because I had a flat. I had to get tires, right? And I took my car to the shop to get Sears to get tires. And across the theater from Sears was the old movie theater I used to work in. So I went over to go see 7. And man, they texted me and said, your car's ready. I was like, I ain't going nowhere. Man, every scene is pouring down, raining.
Yeah, that movie was just done so well.
And the last 5 minutes, what's in the box?
What is in the box?
And you see him going back and forth, like,
you're like, don't show him, don't show him. Don't show him what's in the box. And that was great. That was just and Kevin Spacey, did his thing. This was a great cast. You got Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, who really did his thing, and Kevin Spacey, who played a really good villain.
Yeah.
In this
when
film.
He said, detective, you've been looking for me. It's like, oh.
Yeah, he was wow. Now the funny thing was, what I loved about Insomnia was I've never seen Robin Williams play a villain.
Nah,
that's what was that, and that just he really showed his range. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a good villain in this one too.
Real good.
He was a good villain in this. I really thought that was a good job by Christopher Nolan. But it's just the fact that 7 was just so much. I'm not gonna say it was just like because it was so much better. It was just the way it was done, and like you said, that ending is remarkable. That's like that ending stays with you. If you saw that movie, that's what you remember of the movie. The end.
Yeah,
it stays with you.
I mean, I saw 7 in the movie theaters, but when he's going back and forth, like when in the end, when you had that quick flash, and you're like, "Yo, what was that?" I had to get it. When I got the VHS, I couldn't stop it to see, but I had to actually do it on DVD to see what that flash was. And it's a flash of his wife, Gwyneth Paltrow, right?
Yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow. Another, big cast in this one.
Yeah, and it was just like, man, the chemistry between the two of them, and even though we're talking about Kevin Spacey, we know Kevin Spacey, but you have to give him credit for this movie.
Yeah. Like I said,
a damn good criminal.
Whatever scumbag shit he did in his real life has nothing to do with his work. He's an incredible actor. He's an incredible actor. Bottom line. I mean, I can say that and not feel guilty about saying it. He's an incredible actor. He's a predator, but he's an incredible actor.
He's an incredible actor.
So I mean, that's what it is. So 7 wins. And now it's tied. David Fincher, Christopher Nolan, 1-1. Third film. I mean, and look at this body of work. Just I want to say, look at the body of work of both of these guys. Like, that's their second films.
Mm-hmm.
That's his second film, Insomnia. His second film was 7. His second film. Yeah. Man, that's crazy. Just like we moved to the third film now. The Game. From David Fincher. All right, let me bring that. I think I have a little The Game, David Fincher. Bring that up there for David Fincher. All right, and versus Batman Begins. Let's see what we got.
All right, I'm just gonna put it out there. I love The Game.
Oh yeah.
The game hits you like, damn.
Yeah.
This is the game. And then having Sean Penn in it also, and it's also the massacre. But Batman Begins, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm taking Batman Begins. At that point in time, I was kind of burnt out with Batman.
Okay.
Batman versus Robin really It's like it really did it. It was like
really messed it up for you, right?
So when the trailer came out for Batman Begin, I was like, okay, okay,
yeah,
another Batman movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for Batman, I did the 2-for-1. I saw when we walked into Batman Begins.
Yeah, I think that
a different villain.
Yeah,
and he did what Schumacher couldn't do. Have Batman face two villains and not be cheesy.
And then not be campy. Yeah,
Not
be
be
some
campy.
freaking, colorful, crazy looking.
Right. I mean, he stripped
cheese
Batman.
ball.
He stripped Batman down basically like to day one.
Yeah.
Of doing Batman. He made him very realistic, very militarish, and it was just like, wow.
Yeah.
And if you keep looking at it, everything in Batman Begins works. You see exactly how he becomes Batman, but not the fact that he becomes the Batman character, but how all the other pieces around him, how he protects his identity, how he gets his weapons, and Alfred. All these little pieces, you see how they all work together to help him become, and also that he is not indestructible, because you see him actually get hurt in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was something I wasn't.
And that was also you saw his trial and error too. You saw that he wasn't, even though he had extensive training in the film, but you saw his trial and error. You saw him trying to work his gadgets, the few that he had, and they didn't work, or what I'm saying, like he, you see him fall, you see him get hurt. You saw the trial and error. You saw the evolution of him. And even by the end of that film, they knew they were always going to do a second film. By the end of that film, he still wasn't, the Batman we all know.
Because he was getting his ass whipped in that train. He really was.
Yeah, he was.
His ass whipped in that train.
Yeah, he still wasn't the Batman that we all know and love, right? But he was just Batman. It was like, okay, it took you on the journey of how he became Batman, and it really put you. I thought Nolan was brilliant for doing that. And like I said at the top of the show, he wanted it to be as realistic as possible, if that's even possible for a superhero film. He wanted you to believe that if I was a billionaire, I can do this. I could be a vigilante, and I could go out and fight crime because I can buy the body armor. I can afford it. I can buy the tank of a like the military Batmobile. I could do those things. So yeah, I could do this, right? That's what he did with Batman Begins, and that's why, although I did love that movie, The Game, that's why I have to go with Batman Begins as well. And on top of that, like you said, Ralph, to piggyback off what you said, he actually he really resurrected the Batman, everything. He resurrected the character because, like you said, Joe Schumacher, sorry, you got some dope films out there, but that's not one of them.
Batman and Robin is not one of them. Worst one.
That's the worst one of all of them. I'd rather watch the TV movie Batman with Adam West and all of them. I'd rather watch that campy shit.
The animated series.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely would. But the one, and even George Clooney has went on to say that he couldn't stand all of the puns in the movie, all of the freeze puns, Mr. Freeze, anybody freeze. I was like, really?
Everybody freeze.
I didn't even like Arnold Schwarzenegger casted as Mr. Freeze. Like, really?
Maybe, and once again, it's those latte drinking, ankle tattoo having,
over there, Warner Brothers
executives. It should have been Patrick Stewart as Mr. Freeze. It would have been right there. Yeah. You raising the quality of the movie right then and there.
You'd have raised the quality of the movie. You'd have had and I mean, like, it's just like he changed it. He made this more, this is it. Like we said before. He did exactly what he did, paved the way for movies like The Joker. It wasn't a superhero movie. It was a film about a superhero.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was a superhero film. It was a film about a man who became a superhero, a vigilante, but becomes a superhero. That's what it was. It was a film. So Dark Knight, no further ado, Dark Knight takes that one. I'm sorry, not Dark Knight. Batman Begins takes that one. The Dark Knight, he is the Dark Knight, but the movie was called Batman Begins. So that's Batman Begins. So Nolan gets that one. That was number 3. Number 4. What's the first rule of Fight Club? So number 4 is Fight Club versus number 4, The Prestige. Underrated film.
Very underrated.
Kind of flew under the radar because everyone was so high off of Batman Begins. He brings back Christian Bale, grabs up Hugh Jackman,
and throws Dark Widow into it, and it just I think because at the time there was like 2 different illusionist movies that were competing. So
you had the Illusionist, right? Wasn't that out there too? Yeah, the Illusionist.
So it really slept, but certainly watch The Prestige. This is a good movie, but it's not Fight Club. It is not Fight Club, man. First rule: you don't talk about Fight Club.
You don't talk about Fight Club. First of all, Fight Club. Now this is where I say, like we said, Fincher he came in. 7 was definitely a different film. It was written really good. The game, but Fight Club, I think, was done so well. It was just different, and it was one of those films that just like it was kind of like The Sixth Sense. Remember when I first saw The Sixth Sense, I had to rewind it when I got to the end. Because I was like, wait, what?
Did I just see that?
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second, what? Bruce Willis, what? Wait a minute, he's what? You know what I'm saying? And then I had to go back. And I was like, oh, no, I need to watch this again.
And then you start seeing all the little clues coming around, like, damn. And you like, I saw it, but didn't pick up that it was a clue.
I missed all of that. With Fight Club, I pretty much did the same thing. I was like, wow, what? Wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to go back to scenes and see were they ever directly talking to each other? Were they ever interacting with other people together? Like, then I'm like, wait a minute. This was shot so brilliantly. It was like, what the hell? So it was, it just had me. The fact of the matter, it was already cool, full of nostalgia. I mean, not nostalgia, full of testosterone. With the whole Fight Club thing. Another thing is, I didn't know until this movie came out that there were actually things called Fight Clubs. I never knew that they really existed. I didn't know that until this film came out. So that's another thing that gave me something to look up and research. I'm like, oh, there really is Fight Clubs. People really do this. They get down in the basements and take off their shirt and they're fighting. And I'm just like, okay. So it educated me at the same time, entertained me.
Yeah.
Which is one reason why it's one of my favorite films. Definitely on these lists. I have to go. I gotta go with Fight Club.
I gotta go with Fight Club, man.
Yeah.
I was just looking at it. I think it was like on like 3 weeks ago, and I was sitting here looking at it, and I was like, I think I haven't seen it in a while. And immediately you get caught right back up into it, like it's the first time you've seen it. Like,
yeah, that's how you know it's a good film.
I want you to hit me. I want you to punch me in the face hard as you can. So the guy, because he's like, yo, can I get a shot in too? So we got Fight Club in the parking lot.
Yeah. So we know, okay, Fight Club wins. For the first rule of Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club, but it won. Okay, number 6. Another film that went under the radar. I think it didn't go under the radar, but it did to me. a lot of people don't talk about it as much, especially David Fincher films. That is Zodiac.
Wait a minute, you jumped ahead.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, Panic. Okay, that's next. I'm sorry. Panic Room. That didn't go under the radar. That was actually a pretty big.
That was good. That was a good.
That was a big film. That was a big film. Jodie Foster. And okay, so we got Panic Room. I have it here. And a very, very young Kristen Stewart before she got bit by the sparkly vampires.
I know.
This was Kristen Stewart. I don't know if this was her acting debut, but this was, you know,
pretty close.
Yeah, one of her first films, and then that is going to be against. This is The Dark Knight. So, although I don't think this, I think this is kind of a no-brainer, but you know, I do want to acknowledge that Panic Room was a very good film.
Yeah.
It was another thing. I had never really. All right, this is what I say. Panic Room changed my life, and I'll tell you why. After I saw Panic Room, from that point on, I always said, when I build my house, wherever it is, I am building a Panic Room. I remember I said that, and I've stayed true to that from that day forward. And every time I'm saying to myself, yeah, you know, I'm gonna buy this house. You know, when we moved to Florida, we were looking at houses to buy here. Thank God I didn't buy a house here because I just can't stay here. But that's a whole other thing. We was looking to buy a house here, and I was like, okay, let's do it in a new development because guess what? I want a Panic Room. My wife's like, what? Are you serious? Right. I'm like, I'm dead ass serious. I was like, I needs a Panic Room. Because I can't needs.
I don't need a man cave. I don't need a man cave. I need a Panic Room.
I need a Panic Room. I mean, well, see, unfortunately, that was my alternative. You can't get a man cave in Florida because you can't. Not too many places in Florida have basements. You can't really have basements in Florida because, you know, especially the ones that, you know, especially in Central Florida, because a lot of the ground and the soil is too damn. You end up in the ocean. Put it that way. You'll be digging a basement and end up in the ocean. So you can't have basements in Florida, right? Too close to sea level or whatever. So that would have been my man cave, a basement. So my trade-off was, you know what? I'm gonna get a Panic Room. I want a Panic Room. I need a Panic Room.
I need a Panic Room.
So, you know, and yeah, so that's why it changed my life. However, The Dark Knight also changed my life. It made me look at filmmaking a whole other way when it comes to shooting. Once again, he comes back to shooting superhero films, but it just was so realistic. It's so hard to put that word with a superhero film. That's what's funny about it. It's hard to use the word realistic with a superhero film.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Obviously, Heath Ledger did I was one, you know, I love being, I don't like being wrong, but I love being proved wrong because when I'm proven wrong, it's usually something badass. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know. I wasn't against Heath Ledger as the Joker, but I was already so sold on Jack Nicholson's Joker from Batman, Tim Burton's Batman.
Yeah,
and I'm like, Jack Nicholson killed that role because I didn't know what Jack was going to do. I know he's a great actor. I know he's going to do with Joker. He really, really killed the Joker. You know what I mean? He killed that role. And I was like, do we want to see Joker again? You know, I'm just like, I want to see Joker again. And I always say that. And Heath Ledger proved me wrong. and
way wrong.
To my delight. And the way he played Joker was just, I mean, it was crazy. It was so good. And I just thought and let's not even, I mean, you know who gets lost in the sauce here is Aaron Eckhart, who actually did a good job as Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face. You know, he gets kind of lost in the shuffle here because let's face it, the acting by Heath Ledger was what really skyrocketed this film. The storytelling was great. You know, Bale back as Batman, a little more. Now he's a more advanced and seasoned Batman. You know, and dealing with the one thing that Batman always deals when it comes to the Joker. Why doesn't Batman kill the Joker? This is what people will be wondering, right? But the fact that dynamic between the Batman and the Joker, their freaky, weird relationship, as Joker would look at it as a relationship between the two. Right. And, you know, Batman's just like, you're a freaking psychopath. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving you the satisfaction of killing you. You know what I'm saying? Because killing you, you win. If I kill you, you win. Yeah. Because you made me stoop to your level. Because you wanted to prove that everyone can kill. He was, you know what I'm saying? Everyone could come to that point where they could kill. He did it plenty of times. Just beautiful. Beautifully done. Beautifully acted. Rest in peace, Heath Ledger. Well-deserved Oscar. And it was the first superhero comic book film to ever even be considered for an Oscar, as far as I remember. It definitely I don't know if I can go back. I don't know if Superman ever won like something for like maybe John Williams.
Well, the score,
or something like that.
It's the first.
It's the first one comic movie that's ever got
for a main Oscar,
Best Picture or anything like that.
One of those.
One of the main Oscars. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. No disrespect to Panic Room. For me, I loved it. It wasn't like Die Hard, but it was like it kept you very claustrophobic. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And it kept it throughout the entire movie where she wanted to get out and she had to do what she had to do to take care of her kid. And they wanted to get in and was going to do whatever they had to do to get in. But it was very claustrophobic. Yeah, it was. And nobody was really slipping as far as the movie. Like Forrest Whitaker, he was the guy that knew what he was doing, but he's like, I designed saying that there's no way to get in there, but I got to figure a way to get into something where I know
a way to get in. Exactly.
But The Dark Knight, I remember I was working in New York and I came to 42nd Street on a Friday night to see this, right? 8:00 show, the entire rest of the night was sold out for The Dark Knight. Mm-hmm. And I was just amazed. Like, oh my, the Joker was not what I thought. He was not comical. He was not comical,
Nope, at all.
He was crazy.
He was crazy. He was sociopath.
Yeah. And Batman has to beat him without dipping into what Joker was, right? You got the love affair going on that now you're passionate, like you're trying to fight the Joker, but you got this girl who you want to be with, but she's involved with the guy who doesn't even like you, and you're in his way. It's like damn, you give me all stuff. But in total, The Dark Knight is Heat. That's what this is. It is the movie Heat, the De Niro Pacino movie Heat. It is Heat. Mm-hmm. De Niro is the Joker, and Pacino is Batman. That's what you're seeing in front of you. Yeah. And one of the things I like about The Dark Knight, particularly The Dark Knight, is that, the original Batman movies were shot on a soundstage. They were shot in Pinewood Studios. This is taking place in the middle of Chicago. That's where the Dark Knight is. It's in Chicago.
Yeah. And I loved how I liked how Nolan took Chicago and basically turned it to Gotham.
Yeah, he turned it into the backdrop.
He turned it into Gotham. And Gotham, as we all know, in the whole Batman ethos, the whole Batman, lore, Gotham is its own character in the film. It always is. Because Gotham is a big part. Gotham created Batman. If it wasn't for the city of Gotham, there would not be a Batman, because it was the city that took his parents and thus created Batman. So, I always thought that Chicago, for whatever reason, just made a good Gotham just by looking at, because like Metropolis has always been New York City. Like you always do, Metropolis is New York City. But, in the DC world, the DC comic world, they never ever use actual city names. They made their own cities up, but they were all based off of cities. So Metropolis was obviously New York City, Manhattan. I always used to think that, well, if Metropolis is Manhattan, then Gotham must be like Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So I think he went with that same theory, because Gotham, even on, if you look on like one time I saw like a map, like a DC map of their cities and stuff, because you have like Gotham, you got Metropolis, you got Star City or something like that. Then you got, I forgot the other one where the Flash is from. But
is it like Metro City or
Central City, I think it's called. So like they got all these different names, and you're trying to wonder what's what, right? Like what are they basing these cities off of? But I always thought Gotham was Chicago. I don't know why. I just always did. I knew it was never close to Metropolis, which Chicago is not close to, but it's a main city. And it makes sense to me that it would be Chicago, because you know what? If you was a vigilante running around, or let's just say you was a superhero running around in Manhattan, Superman and Batman at first didn't run into each other a lot. Why? Because Gotham's not close to Metropolis. You know what I'm saying? So
another big flaw in Batman vs Superman, they made it seem like they're right across the river. No, they're not.
They made it seem like they were close. They made it seem like it was close. It was almost like Metropolis. It's almost like Gotham was like Jersey.
Yeah,
and Metropolis is New York.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's far away.
It's not. It's not. It's definitely not close. But yeah. So I mean, we know what that is. Let me just mark the score here. This is definitely, and like you said, no disrespect to Panic Room. Love the film.
None.
Like I said, it changed my life. But yeah, we're up to.
I think even with Panic Room, one thing about that is that because Forrest Whitaker was always a talented actor, but I think a lot of people always just saw him, even though he was really excellent in Bird, but I think a lot of people always saw him as the guy from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the football player.
Right.
This showed that, no, I'm something way different. Because certainly, if he wasn't in Panic Room, he probably wouldn't have been in the last King of Scotland. He wouldn't have won his Oscar without Panic Room.
Yeah.
I really truly believe that showed him in a whole different light. And amazing job. But it ain't no Dark Knight. It's just not. Carrie Slice is not.
It's not. Okay, next up, I believe that's me. So we got now I can talk about Zodiac. That movie I said that flew under the radar. Number 6, Zodiac. And versus number 6, where are you?
Man,
Inception.
See, I call this thing Cutthroat for a reason, and this
you say you call it Cutthroat for a reason.
I saw Zodiac when I was in Rochester, New York. I was off on a Friday, and I went to see Zodiac. I actually saw Zodiac in the movie. Zodiac is 3 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
but it's immensely gripping. And then and at times, it's really outright scary because, I mean, even though it's a movie, but you kind of felt for Jake Gyllenhaal as the reporter that he was close to solving this entire thing.
Yeah.
The police not wanting to hear what he really had to say. And it is a very slept upon movie. Yo, get the Blu-ray of Zodiac. The Blu-ray is a director's cut. It's a little bit longer. It's a little bit better. It really is. But Inception, man.
Wow.
Inception is just the definition of a mind screw.
Yeah. It was once again he came with something completely different.
It's 10 years later, and I'm still wondering, did his spin stop spinning? Did he ever
come out of it, or was he stuck in it forever?
Was he dreaming, or was he in a dream, or was he alive? It's all these questions that no matter how many times you watch it, you're never going to get the answer.
Yeah, you're never going to get it. Yeah, you're never going to get it.
Never.
So, yeah, that's not happening. I think the same thing. Zodiac to me was a very underrated, flew under the radar type of film. Look at that cast right there alone. You know what I'm saying? And Fincher doing his job, what he does. But Nolan, because of his twisted thinking. I mean, look at the poster. If you've never even heard of this film, how can you not go see this if you walk past that poster?
When you got a bridge covered in fog, you only see in the top.
I'm just saying, wait a minute. I saw the poster for Inception, and I wanted to see it anyway. It was like Inception was one of those movies that I wasn't sure, if I wanted to see it or not. I saw the poster and I was like, yo, this looks crazy. And I was like, okay, let's go. And then once again, like I said before, I like when I learn something from a film, the whole concept of Inception. You know what I'm saying? The concept of it. It's not preception. You know what I'm saying? It's not, it's like, oh, okay, you try to make think of it. No, you don't put the thought in somebody's mind. Inception makes you believe that you thought of it. You know what I'm saying? See, if anything else, as opposed to saying, well, they're putting the thoughts, they're brainwashing you, they're putting the thoughts in your mind. But the concept behind the whole Inception thing is, the whole point is not for you to put it in his mind, for him to think he thought of it himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to go in and you have to go so deep into his subconscious that he has to believe that he dreamt this up himself. It can't be, because it's not going to stick if you don't go deep enough to make it feel like it came from him, not from, influence. It's not influence, it's inception. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I made me think, and I learned a little something. And I was like, whew, that was
was intense. But you know what I liked about Zodiac?
Wait, before you make that point, I saw you answered Joseph. Joseph did ask, Zodiac isn't that based on the Zodiac Killer?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Good question. For all of you that may be, and that was another plus. I love once again, stuff that I learned. I knew and I heard about the Zodiac Killer, but it made me research it more and learn more about it. So therefore, I love learning something. If I can find a film that you entertain me and educated me at the same time, you got me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got me.
And you saw that really, he actually did figure out who the Zodiac Killer was.
Yeah.
He really, really truly. But I put Zodiac in the same frame as I would say with JFK. like I know all about the assassination of President Kennedy, but when you see that movie and they give you all the evidence, you start saying, "Damn, I never noticed. I never picked up on that. I never
picked
saw
up on
that.
that. It must be a conspiracy.
It's gotta be a conspiracy.
It's gotta be a conspiracy. And then when like the magic bullet theory, I never knew about that. The magic bullet theory that they came up with JFK, where this one bullet made all these wounds in this man and the guy sitting in front of him. That doesn't make sense. When people when he broke that down in that film, one of my favorite films and definitely the favorite part of the film, ensemble cast, JFK we're talking about. When he broke that scene down about
from the Zapruder film about
into the
bullet.
left. Back into the left. He kept saying back into the left. And he's like, if he's how can his head fly back into the left if the shot is coming from back here?
The observatory,
Yeah, if that's where it's coming from, his head wouldn't have went back into the left. So it had to come from the grassy knoll over, by the grassy knoll over the picket fences. That's where that shot perception, allegedly what they were perceiving where it came from. And if there's a second shot, there's a second shooter. If there's a second shooter, it's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not the lone wolf thing that they always use. They get this one loner guy who doesn't have no real family, doesn't have don't want to miss him, and then he's a patsy. They make him the patsy. And that's what it was. And I love how they had it where, and I'm not, this is obviously, we're not talking about JFK, but I just wanted to say, but I get what you're saying. When it comes to Zodiac,
and they laid out all the pieces and you start saying, yeah. And then when the cops think they have the guy, that's the funny part. When the cops got the guy they think it is the Zodiac killer, he already knows what they're going to do. The killer, the way I see is that the actual Zodiac killer, right? He was prepared to get caught by the cops. He knew he was going to get caught. He never thought about this other guy digging into it, because he knew that the cops couldn't break his code. He knew that.
Yeah.
But he never figured that someone out there could break the code and then trace it to who. Like that last scene when he goes into the store and he realizes that he knows who I am, but he doesn't know what to do. That's when you said he really solved that case.
Yeah.
An average citizen, not the cops, an average guy that just happened to be a numbers whiz and pieced it all together.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, so that's pretty much the gist of it. But it's kind of fitting that these two movies went. It's kind of fitting that these two went against each other, because you kind of felt uneasy at the end of both of these movies. You know what I'm saying? I know I did. At the end, they didn't end the same, but I'm just saying, you had that uneasy feeling. Not unsatisfied, but uneasy.
But I need really Inception. I needed, and this is when I know a movie is really, when I really love a movie. And I say, I need 10 more minutes. I need 10 more minutes. And it wasn't coming.
It's like good sleep and good sex.
I need 5 more minutes. Give me a couple more strokes. Inception, I literally needed 10 more minutes of this movie, right? Because it has questions that you are not answered, and I think that's the genius of it.
But but they're purposely not answered. They're not answered. It's not that left open because of plot holes. It's not left open because of just bad storytelling. It was purposely done that to mind screw you.
And more than mind screw, because like you said, like with the Sixth Sense, when you really realize what's going on, you say, hold up, I didn't pick up on it. You can go back and trace how you got to this point. Inception, no matter how many times you see it, you can't get those answers solved. It's like it's not laid out in the movie. The ending is not stuck somewhere else in the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the
not even in the director's cut.
Not even it's now.
I don't even know if there is a director's cut. Is there a director's cut?
I would be curious if there is a director's cut of Inception.
He probably just didn't even do it because I don't think he'll ever reveal that. in a movie.
Nah, and Nolan has said, he said there never needs to be a sequel to Inception, and I'm agree with him.
I agree
I
with
don't
him.
ever need to have a sequel to Inception.
No.
Leave it the way it is.
Leave it the way it is. You know. Leave it the way it is. I mean, he does what he does. Okay, so Nolan does win that one. Okay, so now we have number 7. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button versus number 7. The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay. All right.
That's just as Dark Knight Trilogy, but it's the Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to say this.
Which
I really, really like Benjamin Button. The idea of this guy who's born old and dies young, and you see his life laid out and how everybody around him gets older as he dies. It was brilliant.
Brilliant and different.
Brilliant. But The Dark Knight Rises, to me, and I'll be honest, it is not this. It does not have the same impact that The Dark Knight did. It doesn't, and maybe it's because Heath Ledger isn't in it. However, it as a standalone movie, is it a good Batman movie? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does it end the trilogy? Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, it does.
It wraps it up.
It wraps it up pretty nicely. I mean, and honestly, I don't like the way that it was wrapped up but I have, in this case, I don't have a choice because Nolan decided that I'm bookending my mind, so nobody can come behind me with this guy. So he kills off Batman / Bruce Wayne, and then you find out he's really alive, which you kind of knew. But it's now open where he can come back. He's gone. He hasn't disappeared. He's legally pronounced dead again for the second time. He's pronounced dead.
Yeah, right. He goes away and decides to go away. I mean, we may have to poll the audience on this one because I'm leaning towards Benjamin Button over this particular one. Now, about The Dark Knight Rises, I thought it was, it was, in my opinion, it's the worst of the 3 films of the trilogy.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yes.
And I'm just saying, and that's only comparing it to those 2 other films. So I'm not saying that it's a bad film. I'm just saying comparing it to the 2 others, it was the least. It was the third best one. Right in or it's just a Dark Knight was the best one. Batman Begins was the second best one, and then this one was the third best out of that trilogy. Okay, first strike. Second strike for me is I think at this point, I'm looking at it from a little more of a technical standpoint. I did not like some of I think at this point now, Batman, even though Bane is that dude, even in the comic books, he was the dude that broke Batman's back and put him in. Well, we understand that. But to me, some of the fight scenes in this to me just didn't hit. They didn't land for me. Some of the fight scenes in this, and at this point, it's your last film, and I know you're trying to be Mr. Realistic and all that other stuff, Nolan. But guess what, bro? This is Batman. Let's not forget you're talking about Batman here. I need to see some Batman ass kicking. At least this is the last film. So some of those fight scenes, quite frankly, were just not that good. They weren't choreographed well. I don't think they were very I don't know. It was almost like the fight scene with him and Catwoman, which I also mentioned at the top of the show. Nolan didn't even refer to her as Catwoman by design. He didn't want to do that because he just, to me, to him, it took away from the realness to refer to her as Catwoman, right? Okay, fine. So he decided, we all know he doesn't have to, we all know who she is, so it's no big deal. But that scene where they're both fighting and they're fighting whatever, Bane's goons, whoever they're fighting, the best scene was the scene at the end in the city when they're fighting and he's trying to get past everybody with all the cops and stuff. That was a good scene. That was a nicely written scene. But I'm just talking about some of the actual fight scenes in here. You know, had he to fought like Zack Snyder did Ben Affleck fighting in Batman vs Superman, then I would have said this movie was, would have been super great. Still would have been better than the first Dark Knight, but still it would have been better than Batman Begins. But and also, I don't know, the whole thing with Bane, I'm okay. Like I said, I'm all right with the realism stuff. Bane can't be like how Bane was in the comics. He definitely couldn't be like how they had him in Batman. I guess that was, what was that, Batman Forever? When he was in there. Yeah, they definitely couldn't have him like that.
Batman versus Robin. That's how he was.
Batman and Robin. He was like that. Batman
like,
and Robin.
On,
They had Poison Ivy in that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He couldn't be like that. Definitely. They couldn't put him like he is in the comics. Well, they could have, but they decided not to because he wanted to be realistic. So he just got a jacked up what's his name? Tom Hardy.
Oh, Tom Hardy.
Yeah, Tom Hardy made him take a few cycles, got him jacked up, and there you have it. So,
but you know something? I mean, but you know something was funny is that every time I walk into work and I put that mask on, I be saying nobody cared who I was. Like, put on the mask.
Speak of the devil and he shall appear. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. And so I'm sitting there like, yeah, that was me. It was good. I didn't like the voice he went with either. I don't know why. I thought it was just like, I don't know. I think the Bane character lacked a little bit of backstory. I saw what they did. They tied the backstory in with him, with Al Ghul's daughter, right? And I thought that was cool. That whole time they made you think it was Bane that crawled out of the that rose out. They made you think that was Bane that climbed out, but it wasn't Bane. It was Talia al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, who was the person pulling Bane's strings, right? So okay, that's cool. And who did he get to play? That same woman that he had play in Inception.
Yeah.
Wife. Yeah. So, but as much as I did, enjoy it, I think the flaws of it, maybe I held it to too high of a standard. I think the flaws that I found in it, and I shift over to Benjamin Button and how different of a film it was. I think I got more out of Benjamin Button than I got out of Dark Knight Rises. Unfortunately, probably because of its predecessors, and I think that Nolan, for the wrap-up film, and I agree with you on the ending, I thought it was like, okay. And I know why he did that. He didn't want to make no more. Yeah, right. And he made it so no one else can make any more from his films. So I get that.
I think that part, if he had decided that he already presented, I'm going to make one more, would he have wrapped it up? Would he have ended it? Not wrapped it. Would he have ended it the same way where everybody thinks that Batman had died? That part, no. That he left it kind of,
yes, right.
That part, I think
that's
he does
fine
to do that.
And he left it kind of open. He threw that little meaningless hint about Robin in there, which I think was not needed either.
It was just a nod. It was just a nod to the fans that
it was just a nod to the fan, but at the same time, it was like, really. You know what I'm saying? Like it to me, it wasn't needed, but I know what it was. It was just something that people would be like, oh, but it wasn't because you wasn't setting anyone up to continue your story. You wasn't setting because you ended it by killing Batman. Killing Batman to the world, so to speak. So, I think because of that, I'm going with Benjamin Button. If you're going with Dark Knight, then we're gonna need to phone a friend. We're gonna need a lifeline from the chat room.
James.
Jimmy Ace, if you're still with us, I'm gonna have to say we're gonna leave it up to you. Well, not just you, the whole chat room. Chat room, you are now been selected as a lifeline. We're polling the audience. Which was the better film in your opinion? We'll go by whoever puts in the most or whatever. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button or The Dark Knight Rises? We need some answers.
What do the fans think?
Yeah, what do you guys think?
I give my reasons for The Dark Knight. Wes gives his for Curious. And you know what? I'm not really that far away with you with the Benjamin Button thing.
Right.
Because I really like that it was, like you said, it's something different.
Yeah.
You know?
It's something different.
But to me, you know, and I think one part is that a lot of what gives The Dark Knight Rises a little edge is that a lot of times when it comes to these trilogies, the third act is such a letdown. You know? And Dark Knight it's not a letdown. It doesn't have the huge payoff that The Dark Knight has, but it's not a letdown. Like some movies at third act, like Scream 3, not Scream 3. What's some like
Godfather 3 was kind of a letdown.
The Godfather 3 is a letdown.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop 3 is a letdown.
That was a letdown, yeah.
You know, and
Cop 3 was a letdown. Godfather 3. A lot of times in trilogies, it's hard to pay off properly and it not be a letdown. Now, Dark Knight Rises by no means was a letdown, in my opinion. I mean, I gave my reasons why. So it looks like Dark Knight Rises will move on, will rise, because Jimmy A says Dark Knight Rises for 500, Alex. Rest in peace, Alex Trebek. And Joseph Tan also says Batman, The Dark Knight Rises. So unless anybody else wants to chime in about Benjamin Button, we're going to go with Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
So that will be Nolan again. That's Dark Knight Rises. All right. Very good. Very good. But these two filmmakers are very good filmmakers. This is a good battle. It's something that it's not a bunch of no-brainers. It's stuff that we really have to think about.
Gotta think about.
You know what I'm saying? It's like not no-brainer. The only no-brainer was
probably just The Dark Knight. It's probably the only one.
That's pretty much like the only no-brainer. Dark Knight versus Panic Room, even though we gave props to Panic Room for being a good film, but it's a no-brainer. It was The Dark Knight. If there's anything he would have had to go up against Dark, maybe 7. That's probably the only one that he has in his arsenal.
I'm really thinking Gone Girl.
Maybe Gone Girl was just
Gone
awesome.
Girl.
All right, so next up on number 8 would be for David Fincher. We have The Social Network, and for Christopher Nolan, number 8, we have Interstellar. So Christopher Nolan, we have Interstellar, number 8.
Now I'm going to say this:
The Social Network.
I actually like Interstellar. I mean, we have been subjected to all kinds of movies and film about the end of the earth, right?
Yeah.
Very few have you ever seen humanity trying to do something to extend the livelihood of human beings.
Mm-hmm.
With the exception of like Independence Day, where we got to fight the aliens.
Yeah.
That's so different. But this one said, no, we're just going to find another Earth. But Interstellar uses a lot of real science in this movie.
He does. They do.
About how another planet, like, you know, if we sit down, for every second we're down there, it's 7 years here on Earth. You know, for every hour, whatever, it's 7 years on Earth. It uses a lot of science in the movie.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, when you're bombarded with that kind of knowledge, it takes it. You get stuck.
It becomes a little too heavy. Yeah, it becomes a little too heavy. Yeah.
But Interstellar really didn't do that. It gave you like a little bit of science, a little bit for you to keep in what was going on, to understand what was going on.
Well,
And I like
I like how they explored, like how it's like people talk about it. There's a few things in life that people will always consider a mystery. The Bermuda Triangle
Mm-hmm.
and a black hole, right? People always figure the black hole in space is a mystery, right? Like, what happens if you ever pass through a black hole? You know what I mean?
And now you saw it leads you to another galaxy if you do that.
To another almost like another dimension. You know what I mean? And if you do that, so and how he was able to see, so it was very interesting. I think once again, both movies, I learned something. I learned a lot from both movies, actually. You learned something more on a level of a scientific level, which is really all based on theory, not based on fact. Right?
We haven't done it. At least
we haven't done it. That we know of. Yeah.
At least that's what they're telling us.
That's what they're telling us. Exactly. Which I'm gonna say based on theory, because honestly, I'm with Kevin on that one. Kevin was here. He'd be like, "We ain't getting nowhere close to that because
we ain't land on the moon. We ain't walked on the moon. It was all shot in the movie studio.
Let me tell you something. I'm not gonna get on that. I'm not gonna get on that topic. But maybe we can listen that for another show. I believe that. I do not believe we made it to the moon. I just don't think it happened the way it happened. So suddenly, all of a sudden, because we're in this space race trying to beat Russia to the moon now, and we failed so many times. And like I said, my biggest issue is we never went back. And that's not America. That is not how the United States work. If we went to the moon, we actually been to the moon and was the only ones to make it to the moon, we would have went back by now. With all the technology we got we'd have went back.
Okay, but they did go back. They have been back on the moon.
No, they would have been trying to build stuff on the moon by now. No, we never went back to the moon. We never officially did a launch and sent an astronaut back to the moon. We never did that. We never did it. And if we that's what I'm saying. The fact that if we actually did make it, why would we not go back? And I'm saying now, even with some of these movies that come up there and they talk about building things on Mars, building things on the moon, that would be the first thing that the country would try to do. Build something on the moon, or at least see if it was inhabitable, or if they can build something. And they never did because we never made it there.
I have always asked this question, because I mean, I do think we did step foot in the moon, but I always say, you have this space shuttle, right? Why can't the original question I asked was, why can't you take the space shuttle and land on the moon? And basically, I was told
13 tried. He tried.
Right.
But we never made it. That's what I'm saying.
Never made it. They did go by the moon and went around the moon, but it didn't land. But I was told that the space shuttle can't land on the moon because even if it landed on the moon, it can't produce the thrust to take off from the moon like it was an airplane. It can't do it. So I said, well, if that's the case, why can't you put the space shuttle in orbit around the moon and have like a capsule in this Bay Area? You take the robotic arm to extend the capsule out. The shuttle moves out the way, like you get a certain distance. The capsule has the fuel and everything in it, and then you have to could go down to the moon and launch itself back up there, and the arm can capture the capsule and put it back. Mm-hmm. That question never answered. I think that sounds somewhat logical for it to do.
And based on the technology that we have now,
we should be able to.
We should be able to do it. But the reason why, whether we're able to do it or not now, I believe the reason why we're not able to do it is because we don't actually have the data that we should have from going to the moon, because we never made it. That's why. That's my only answer for it. Because the United States Come on, man. They'd have been back by now. They'd have been trying to harvest something from the moon. They'd have been trying to take something from it. I'm telling you, that is not the characteristics of the United States. If we'd have made it to the moon, we'd have went back. We'd have made it back. Especially now, you got this Elon, whatever his name is, this guy launching stuff, SpaceX. He launched it. They'd have been launched something to the moon. They'd have launched someone to the moon by now. Another person, quote unquote, another person. That's why I say.
And you're right. You know what? It would not be that you had to actually send a man to the moon. I mean, robotics. You could have sent an unmanned ship to the moon.
Unmanned ship, yeah. It could be unmanned ship. It could have been, well, okay, you can orbit the moon, whatever. But once again, if you did it back in whatever that was, 1960s or whatever that was, then you should be able to successfully do it now.
Yeah.
And I mean, right now, we were thinking, with everyone thinking that we actually made it to the moon, by now we thinking we'd be taking trips to the moon. Like, there'd be like flights you can buy. Like the Jetsons. Right. You can actually buy a flight. They're selling tickets to fly to the moon, like fucking, like airplane. Yeah, got airplane, man. Yeah, we go to the moon. We got a space station there. They don't got a space station there. They don't got nothing. I'm telling you, dude. I'm saying from a logical standpoint, where would you know that? And all of a sudden, after all those failures, we made it to the moon. Why? Because we was afraid Russia was gonna make it, so we actually made it that time. I don't buy it, man. I don't buy it, and I don't think we have the data of what it is. The reason why we've never been, quote unquote, been back is because we don't have the proper data to safely land someone on the moon because we never did it. But anyway, my opinion. Moving on. Interstellar. So The Social Network film is a true story, obviously, about one of the most, if not the most popular social network today, which is Facebook. I learned a lot in this film based on fact, not theory, which is why I'm going with this film over Interstellar, because I just thought I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I learned about how it's for, you learn, and they didn't pull any punches. Like, and even though Mark Zuckerberg knew all about this film and everything else, he was very
go down.
Right. He's very transparent with his life. Very transparent. Right. And he still let it go down. Exactly what you said. He could have put money into trying to stop the film, but he let it go down. Right. And it wasn't pleasant. You basically found out that Mark Zuckerberg stole Facebook. He stole the idea of Facebook, and he made Facebook. He made Facebook himself. He coded it and he created it in that aspect, but he stole the concept from the Winklevoss
and
brothers.
Even that's actually still wrong. No, he didn't. It was his homeboy that had the equation.
Yeah, that's true.
That began Facebook.
Right. His homeboy wrote the algorithm for it. Yeah, the equation for the algorithm, the equation for it. It wasn't. He coded it because he was coding for the Winklevoss brothers, and at the same time he was creating their the Connect U, which was called the Harvard Connection as well. At first, it was called the Harvard Connection. But at the same time, he was stalling on releasing theirs because he wanted to finish Facebook. So he released his Facebook before they were able to even release theirs because he stole the idea. And this is what it was. And ultimately, he ended up paying them off and told them to go about their merry way. And I also saw... I didn't know Sean Parker, who was the creator of Napster. I did not know Sean Parker came on late and became a partner. And he was actually the one that told him to drop the off of the name
Eduardo.
And just call it. No, not Eduardo. That was his partner from the beginning. I'm talking about Sean Parker, who's the creator of Napster. That's the one that Justin Timberlake played.
Yeah, but I'm saying he kind of gave him the idea to drop. Water.
Yeah. But what I meant was, remember he said, "Oh, you know what? Drop the just call it Facebook." Yeah. Remember, because it was called the Facebook at first. You know what I mean? And he was the one that, because he knew about, first of all, he was like a nerd, but he had the gift of gab. So he didn't, you know, and he had been through that whole situation with you know, Napster, fighting the music industry basically. And you know, he had something to bring to the table, you know, and he kind of manipulated Zuckerberg a little bit, you know, and you know, he was saying that one of the best lines in the movie. Well, one of the best lines, when he said, "Yeah, you know, $1 million. You know what's better than $1 million? $1 billion." You know what I'm saying? Very simple line, but a very good line that he said, and it sold them. Best line in the movie is, "You better lawyer up, buddy, because I'm not coming back for 50%. I'm coming back for everything. I'm coming back for everything." He said, "You better lawyer up, buddy, because I'm coming back for everything." Woo! I felt that shit. I was like, "Peter Parker." I felt that, but yeah, man. So I'm going with The Social Network over, slightly edging Interstellar. I think Interstellar was very good. Not on my top Nolan films, but it was good.
It was good.
It was good. But I think The Social Network.
I agree with you. I am going with Social Network. Because like you said, there's always something when you see a movie and it teaches you something, and it certainly did. It certainly did teach this that every behind. And I also say this with another movie that's not on here, that's not by either, called The Founder, that every good idea or every good product that's out there, there's always a story and there's always some sort of grind behind it.
Yeah, there's a grind, and there's usually something bad too. There's usually a bad story behind it.
Because you saw in The Founder, if nobody ever saw The Founder is about McDonald's. Yeah. And you saw how Ray Kroc, who is in every single McDonald's, but Ray Kroc did not create McDonald's at all. He kind of got partnered up with the people that actually did the original McDonald's and took it from them. Yeah. But he gets the credit for it, but he wasn't the person that really, or the people that really were behind it originally.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Like you said, there's always some sort of story.
Some sort of grind behind it.
Right. Some sort of grind behind it. And the funny thing is, you're talking about big stuff. You're talking about McDonald's. McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? So, I agree with you with that one. So number 9, we're coming down to the end of the battle here. Number 9, David Fincher's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo versus number 9, Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk.
All right, I'm going to say this. Dunkirk is a good movie. It's telling 3 stories at the same time and all wrapped around each other.
In classic Christopher Nolan way, he found a way to not mind fuck you, but he found a way to make you think, even in a war film.
Right, and it's a very good film. But The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, it's one of the decent remakes, because it is a remake. It's a remake of a Danish film.
Yeah.
And so the Danish film is.
I can't wait to get that show. We got to start doing those shows.
The Danish film is in Danish. This is strictly in English.
Yeah.
You've got Daniel Craig playing this reporter. And then you have Roma Mary, who at the time, the biggest thing she was basically known as the niece of the owners of the New York Giants.
Of the New York Jazz, Rooney Mara. Right. Because she actually has the name. That's the names, the Rooneys and the Maras.
Yeah. So she's related to the owners of the Giants and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, look at that combo, right? Yeah. And Giants, she's playing this role. Yeah. I mean, she has what I still think is one of the roughest rape scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is crazy. And then there's a few of them. Then like that's right up there. I mean, with a lot of, I mean, some of them was, you know, you talking about the one with Jodie Foster, The Accused, was it?
Yeah,
that was a
rough.
rough one. That was a rough one.
Rough.
You know, there's a couple of other ones too. I mean, I don't even want to go to I Spit on Your Grave. That was probably the worst.
But it really was.
That was the worst. But this was really, this one was crazy.
But she fit into she fits into the idea of what Lisbeth was. As far as her look, her attitude, and all this stuff, she was a hacker, and she certainly did portray that role. And I can pretty much say she played it just as good as Naomi Rapace in the original one, just as well. So for this, and I mean, now the guy's side is always a plus C nudity. I mean, she gave the full frontal quite a lot.
Like, not only that, she. With that being said, I'm gonna piggyback off that. Rooney Mara just, I don't know, she was really sexy in that role. And I don't know why or how, whatever, because the way she came across, the look, it wasn't your typical glamorous look, right, for the character, but it was something about her that was very sexy. And it was actually good to see Daniel Craig, because this was in between Bond films, you know.
See him in something different.
It was good to see him in something different. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, because after a while, like Layer Cake and stuff like that, like, you start seeing him in Bond films, and that's all you really know him as at that point.
But not that. It's like most of the stuff you saw Daniel Craig in at the time, he was like, this. Not like, well, certainly the Bonds, but like an action guy.
Yeah,
he was an action.
But this was more.
He's not. He's trying to piece something together,
and
he doesn't. And really speaking, in the beginning, he didn't know what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
When he first got the job, he really didn't know what he was doing, and he needed her help to put it together.
Yeah.
It was refreshing, and I do hope that now that Daniel Craig, if he really has ended his time as James Bond, he does more stuff like this, that's be good to see. Less action, more deep drama. I mean, it'd be great. So for this, I got to give my nod to the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I just think it's not. Dunkirk is not a bad film.
Not at all.
Not at all. But for this, the nod goes to Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah, I think overall it was a better film. Done. I think overall it was a better film. Shout out to Gary Izzo, who is the sound mixer for Dunkirk, Full Sail graduate. I'm gonna try to get him on.
Yeah, we need him
near
on.
Future.
I got questions.
He's the sound mixer. He did a lot of sound mixing for a few of these movies. Actually,
he do the Dark Knight?
He did Dunkirk. He did Inception, and I think he did also do The Dark Knight, because he's worked with Chris Nolan for a while. He definitely did Dark Knight Rises. I'm not sure if he did The Dark Knight. I
really just got one question for him. At the end of all three of the movies, like when Batman first comes on the scene, there's like this sound bite. It's like goes dun dun dun. It's like a wind. I want to know how you did that. Like what instruments to create.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him. It's gonna be fun to get him on, because he's a cool dude too, man. I met him in person, and he's a cool dude, man. Very, 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 very vibrant personality. You know what I mean? And I mean, getting him on, man. I'm gonna have to get him to agree to be on at least a half-hour segment, man, because he's got stories, yo. Just the time I stood and talked to him during, we met him. They have this Hall of Fame thing that they do every year at my school. I met him there, and just that alone, I was like, yo, this dude he's good. I love it. So, yeah, so all right. So we're down to the last battle of the evening. And that will be David Fincher's provocative. I keep saying these movies. That's what it is. The provocative Gone Girl versus the newly acquired Christopher Nolan film Tenet. So let me just bring these up here. And of course, I got a small ass picture of Tenet. I thought that was a bigger one than that. But
right now, I'm
that
gonna put it like this.
And then we have Gone Girl.
I saw Tenet, and it is another Christopher Nolan mind screw. It really is. The last hour, I swear to God, I think the last hour is in reverse. Good movie, and it's a shame that the pandemic has happened because it's certainly a movie that needs to be experienced on the big screen. You know it's coming on DVD in like 2 weeks. It's really a big screen movie first and foremost.
Yeah, it is.
But Gone Girl.
Oh man.
Let me say it again. Gone Girl.
Gone Girl.
Look,
yeah, man.
That his
wife
just
hit different.
It hit different, and then it hit below the belt. She planned out that, so you're gonna cheat on me. Okay, I know how to fix your ass. She didn't destroy his stuff. Nope. She didn't wreck his car. She didn't even cause a scene. She just disappeared. But left all these little clues out that make you think that you killed me. Right? And in this state's got the death penalty, so you're gonna die, and then I'm gonna seriously come back and say, "Oh no, he didn't do anything to me," but it's too late. I'm gonna fix your ass. But then her plan went to crap.
Yeah.
And now she got her ex-man to come into this, her ex-dude to come in, and when it looked like the tide was changing, she was like, "Oh no, I gotta go back, but I can't leave any witnesses. I'm gonna fix your ass." And she did. I'm sorry, Neil Patrick Harris. She did you dirty.
She did him dirty. Dirty, man.
That was one of the
most
level of
intensest. Remember didn't you bring that up when we did the sex scene show?
That was the
show about
the
sex scenes. You would say, "Yo, that's one of the wildest sex scenes you'll ever see in a movie."
I know.
Yo,
she like, "I'm gonna give you some. I'm gonna give you some."
Yeah.
And as you about to orgasm, I'm gonna cut your throat.
Yeah, like you say, Ralph, cut throat.
Cut throat. For
literally cut throat.
Man.
Oh man.
And he was like, and she's like, she throws you on your back, right? And the part that got me was after she killed him, for a hot second she starts to cry, and she was like, and she comes back to like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
That was just a
that was brilliant acting, man. That was such good acting by her. She killed that film.
She
killed that role.
What I'm gonna say about her, right, is that there are certain characters in films that you see that we know it's a character, but they scare you. Like Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction.
Yeah.
I met her one night and I told her she is the reason why I have never ever cheated on a woman. Because of what she did.
Because of Glenn Close.
Glenn Close. Because I mean, come on, she cooked the girl's rabbit. She cooked the rabbit. But that's in so this movie, Rosamund Pike, yo, she's telling you, listen, y'all can cheat on us women if you want to, but guess what? When we don't say nothing, that's when you really need to worry. Because we got a plan. Like Battlestar Galactica, the Cylons have a plan, and this is it.
Yeah.
We got a plan, and this is it.
Yeah.
And this is a plan that no matter what you say, no matter what you do, there ain't no coming back from it. I don't want to hear I'm sorry. I want you embarrassed, jailed, shocked,
accused, hated.
Yeah,
hated. Everything. Yeah, it was something. It was something crazy. It was a brilliantly written, directed, storytelling was awesome in it. Film. and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think Gone Girl definitely takes that one. But with that being said, Ralph, we have ourselves a tie.
We have a tie. Oh.
5-5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5-5. Nolan, Fincher, tie. Now, how do we do this tiebreaker?
All right, one tiebreaker is that let me take the pictures off.
Yeah.
I need to see something. Is the one tiebreaker I see is that all right, you have the 10 movies that Fincher did, and you have the 10 movies that Nolan did. Nolan does have a serious Oscar win with Heath Ledger, The Dark Knight.
He does.
I think three of his movies have been nominated for Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think it's Inception, Interstellar, and Dunkirk.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Now Fincher.
No, Fincher doesn't have any wins. I don't think he has any wins.
Any win.
No.
And nobody from his movies has a win either. Although a lot of his movies, right?
They
a lot
got
like
nominations.
They have nominations, but he doesn't have any wins at all. Whereas Nolan does have the Heath Ledger win under his belt. So I think that would have to be a tiebreaker in Nolan's favor.
Yeah, I suppose so. I guess it's the only thing we can go to. He has that film that well, I mean, you know, it wasn't the film, but it was Ledger, but still it's his film. He directed Ledger, so you have to kind of give him a 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon type of win. Way. I guess that would have to be the tiebreaker, I guess. Because I mean, I think honestly, even if we went with box office, he would win too.
I think so. I think Nolan.
I think Nolan would win with box office as well, because given the Dark Knight trilogy, that made a ton of money.
Yeah,
at the box office, and those alone probably would propel him to the win.
Yeah,
if we went by box office, because although David Fincher put out a lot of really great films, you know, off the top of my head. All of these like when I went to David Fincher films, literally, Social Net. Well, no, I mean, Girl with Dragon Tattoo, Fight Club. No, not Fight Club. What was the one that, like, a couple of those films? The Game, Girl with Dragon Tattoo, and Gone Girl. I had no idea what those films was about. I just saw them because I saw like a quick trailer. I'm like, oh, I want to see that. And
right,
then
the trailer
really saw it. Yeah, then really saw it like, this movie's awesome. But the trailers, he's good at cutting real good trailers, and it was like those films. I think probably maybe his biggest film in the box office. I'm just saying off the top of my head, was it The Curious Case of Benjamin Button? Was it that maybe?
I think it might be Gone Girl.
Gone Girl might have been.
I think it's probably Gone Girl.
Might have been Gone Girl. Yeah.
Right. But even with that one, I think that like you said, number 2, your second movies, like you didn't have the second movie slump. Your second movies hit hard.
Both of them. Yeah.
They hit both hard.
Both of them hit hard. Second movie, yeah, there was no sophomore jinx there.
No sophomore jinx.
No sophomore jinx there. You know what I'm saying? If anything, his second movie was eons better than his first. Whereas, Christopher Nolan, people will argue if Insomnia is better than Memento, but he still was a really good film. It was definitely a great film. So, well, I guess we'll give it to Christopher Nolan then. For he gets the slight edge. He's the only one that has a win. She said, "I love Panic Room."
I do too. I think Panic Room is awesome, but
I thought it was too. We're gonna we're gonna have to give it to Nolan because he's the only one out of the two. Neither one of them have Oscar wins on their own, but he's the only one that has an Oscar win under his belt with Dark Knight, with Heath Ledger winning the Oscar.
Right.
So, David Fincher to me had a couple that he should have got maybe, I'm sorry. I mean, Rosamund Pike was nominated for Gone Girl. I don't remember what she was up against that year, but gee whiz. She should have won.
She should have won, no doubt about that.
I would have been okay with them giving Rooney Mara. She was nominated for Girl with Dragon Tattoo just for doing that rape scene. Jesus Christ, Rooney Mara.
Because listen, if you see that rape scene where he actually had her tied to the bed and he yanks her panties off, that wasn't fakery. It looked like to me like he really did it. I mean, obviously, no, he did not have sex with her.
Right.
But it's just the imagery that came. It was just so rough. And it kind of hit you out of nowhere. It's like, damn, dude, you got to do it dirty like that?
Yeah. Yeah. And she had, who had won it? The Academy Award for Best Actress. I'm trying to see who she was up against that year. I don't remember. It's just 2012. Academy Awards. Rooney Mara for Best. I just want to see. I'm just curious. For Best Actress, she lost to. She was up against Glenn Close, who we just talked about. For Albert Nobbs, we have Viola Davis for The Help. Rooney Mara, Girl with Dragon Tattoo. Michelle Williams for My Week with Marilyn. And the winner was Meryl Streep. It's Meryl, of course, for The Iron Lady. You know what? Meryl's Meryl. But you know what? They could have jumped over Meryl for that one.
Yeah. Even that year, I thought that the winner really should have been Michelle Williams.
For my Week with Marilyn.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was good with that. She was good in that. Yeah, and a lot of people thought Michelle would, because I don't know if she won that Golden Globe before that, but she was a lot of people thought she was gonna win that one. But Rooney Mara was no slouch, man. She in my opinion, she could have very well won.
Yeah.
Agreed. For what she did with Dragon Tattoo. So there you have it, people. The winner is Christopher Nolan. This was a good battle. This was one of the better ones. This was one of our better battles with these guys. Close that out. Yeah, so Christopher Nolan wins, and we all get a chance to
see if you
go watch these films.
Right. If you've never seen some of these movies that we talk, man, go watch them.
Watch them. Check them out.
Because they're all 10. I mean, both of these guys, 10 movies, 10 solid movies. There's like no slippage in this list at all on either side, which is rare.
I know. And Maddie said, I got a feeling Kevin would have called y'all cutthroat tonight. Yeah, he probably would have.
He would have.
Kevin would have been like, I'm not answering that question. Yeah. He'd have said no. He probably would have answered the question. So, yeah, but, it is what it is, man. I think I agree with you, Rob. It was really nothing on either side that was like, it was nothing slouching. These two guys have really, to me, they've accumulated a catalog that, out of the other directors that we've seen, especially the ones that are a little more new, we're not talking about the Steven Spielbergs of the world, but even with them and all of them, you have a couple of films that you come across and you're like, nah, that wasn't a good film. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We didn't say that about none of these films. We was like, no, it was a good film. It just wasn't better than that film.
Yeah, they all hit hard too. Every last one of them on both sides hit hard.
Excellent.
And they all hit differently. And I mean, like I said, Gone Girl doesn't hit like the game, but damn, the game was good. If y'all never, and it's one of the movies that, look, I am also a guy that's not that great with sequels. Some seasons don't need a sequel. The game needs a sequel. It needs a sequel bad. There are so many possibilities that you could have did with a second game. I have said if you take like today with like some of these people in music, and you do a game with them with now that hot thing. Oh, I got this hit record. Nah, you still a low life in the end.
I think that's interesting about David Fincher, though. He actually came in the game doing a sequel, but he never actually did a sequel to any of his films, which is very interesting. I think that's an interesting thing. He came in. It is a sequel. It's part of a trilogy at that point, but
he's never done it. He's never done any of his movies.
He's never did a sequel to any of his films, which I think is interesting. He's always moved on and moved forward. The only time, obviously, Nolan did it, he had to do it with the Batman stuff. That was the only time he did sequels. Other than that, he's never done sequels to his films.
And even with the Batman movies, I mean, if you really look at the Batman movies, you didn't need sequels to any of them. You could have just ended it.
He could have ended it at any one of them. Yeah. As a matter of fact, The Dark Knight could have came out by itself, and we never would have had Batman Begins, and everyone would have still loved it. It still would have been accepted because we know about Batman so much anyway.
Yeah.
So it still would have been the awesome film that it was.
Mm-hmm.
It still stands alone. But they are, they're obviously sequels.
But even with that one of the things about Nolan, because by the time The Dark Knight Rises came out, a lot of people, because Marvel had already started putting like that little preview to the next movie or something in there. He was like, nope, I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it. And I mean, and I love the fact that he produced a lot of films, and he actually consulted with Zack Snyder for, Man of Steel. And some other stuff. So that was awesome. And that, like I said, Man of Steel, that was a good film, man. That film was really good. Which he did a lot of the consulting with Zach on that.
Maybe we should have did that one instead. Nolan versus Snyder. Maybe we should have did that.
I think that would have been good, but Snyder does a few things. I think Nolan probably would have ended up. He might have killed Snyder.
He might have swept him.
Yeah, he might have swept him out. Snyder is he's not the best storyteller, but he's a great visual. He's a visual.
Yeah, he's a visual guy.
Yeah, he's a visual guru. 300 was awesome. The visual.
Wow.
Yeah, visually, he's a visual storyteller. That's what he is. And I don't give a shit what anybody say about Sucker Punch. That visually, that film was
visually
good. Visually.
Visually.
Yeah, no, the film was not good.
Sucks.
But visually, it was a masterpiece. It was a visual masterpiece. Very stimulating.
I get Zack Snyder.
And I sit, and he's another long movie guy, but I sit through his movies because I loved Watchmen. Watchmen was awesome. And
the director cut better though.
Yeah, director's cut
better
of Watchmen.
Makes sense.
It was dope, man. He killed it. He killed that.
Do you notice that every single movie that Snyder has done, right, that's actually been in the theaters, the director's cuts are always better. Like, has he gotten to say, listen, just leave him alone?
They should just leave him alone. And that's ironically, that's what HBO Max has done. They finally said, you know what? Because Snyder is literally cutting this film. Like he was, when he was doing those interviews with Grace Rudolph or Grace Randolph, or whatever her name is, from Beyond the Trailer, he was, the first time he was like literally in the middle of cutting the film. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And he just cut Army of the Dead too. He cut that as well. He cuts his own films. You know what I'm saying? But he's like no disrespect to the editors that do their thing. But he likes to cut his own films. I mean, let him go. Let him do his own thing.
Leave him alone. Let him do it.
Let him do it, man. Because like you said, as much as everyone, all the backlash that Batman vs Superman got, when you watch the director's cut, you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
it made sense. Watchmen makes sense.
It made sense. It made sense when you watch the director's cut. So
I think the Blu-ray I have of 300 is the director's cut of the of 300.
Probably.
I haven't seen it, but it has a lot of footage on it. But I'm sure that even if it's not a director's cut, there's a bunch of deleted scenes in there that would give us some more backstory that would make it better.
Make it even better.
maybe we need to have that hashtag "Leave Snyder alone." Leave Snyder alone.
Leave Snyder
Leave
alone.
Snyder alone.
That's funny. That might work. We might have to start that one. You know, you did the hashtag release the Snyder cut. Now let's do hashtag leave Snyder alone. Let him do his thing, man.
You know, because obviously the man knows what he's doing.
And I'm telling you right now, man, like I said, I know you've always saying you like, well, you sure hope that this whole thing lives up to the hype.
I really do.
I believe it will, though. I believe it will. I believe he will. He's turning out a completely different movie, bro. Like that alone is exciting for people who saw the first one, because it's like, oh, you're not going to see just like the same film with a few different things. No, like it's a different film.
He's changing a lot. He's adding a lot.
Well, I mean, he's the funny thing is he ain't changing it. This is what he originally wanted it to be. They changed it. with the reshoots was them. That was Warner Brothers reshoots.
Yeah, well, I keep saying those latte drinking, ankle tattoo having, yoga pants wearing executives that think only about the dollar.
Yeah,
Don't think about
and making nothing but bad decisions.
Bad decisions.
And the bottom line is, he this is how he originally imagined it. So they gave him extra money because, number one, he had to finish the film with the graphics and stuff, that CGI or whatever they had to do. And number two, he did a couple of reshoots himself. What he's doing, like I said, I think I said this last week, Zack Snyder is tying up every loose end that people complained about from his previous films. Like the parts about Batman vs Superman that people don't understand, he's going to tie it up in this film, I believe. That's why he has the Joker in it, because of that one scene in Batman vs Superman where they showed the Joker, the Robin suit, right? Speaking of which, before we go, the Batman, the animated film, the Batman, A Death in the Family is out. I believe it's out now, and I don't know where it's at. You can just probably buy it on Amazon or whatever. Which is the storyline where the Joker kills Robin. But to be honest with you, as much as I love I love watching DC animation films, this one was kind of a waste because, to be honest with you, 11 years ago they did a film, an animated film called Batman Under the Red Hood.
Yeah, explained all that stuff.
Explained all that already.
Why are you doing it again, man? Like Warner Brothers. Once again, you latte drinking, ankle tattoo having. Why are you doing another movie that
the
you
same exact movie,
another animated movie that you what? Oh! I see. You're going to show it from the other side of the pen. That's what you're going to do.
All they did would add to this was they add a feature like how it was with Black Mirror. They had with the Black Mirror movie. They added a feature where you could choose the outcome.
Oh, I'm kind of no. Did I take back what I said? That kind of I saw. We have that different in our store. I thought that's kind of interesting where you can pick and choose how the story is going to go. Now that's different.
It's different.
That's like different. For Halloween they ran Clue. Remember when Clue came out in every theater? It was different. When it came to video, they put all three endings and the one that was the real ending all together.
All together, yeah.
So
you could choose because remember, Black Mirror did Bender Snatch or whatever it was. They did that movie, the Black Mirror movie. You was able to choose the outcome. You was able to choose what the guy. He got up and it's like, what's he going to eat for breakfast? And you could choose what type of cereal he's going to eat. You know what I mean? He's going to eat cornflakes, or he's going to eat this. And depending on what you choose, changes the outcome.
I'm good with that.
Now, quick story about that. The reason why they did that is because back in the comic, when they DC actually did poll the audience, they did get they actually asked the fans if Robin should die. And
I remember that. I remember
it was voted on. It was voted on by the fans. And I'm not sure if they voted on how he should die, but it was definitely voted on if he should die or not. And so because of that, they're putting it back as paying a little bit of homage to that. They're putting it back in the fans' hands of how the outcome of it is going to be. Yeah, it's cool. But it is pretty much the same story as Under the Red Hood.
It's a gimmick, but maybe right now you need with what's going on. You need a gimmick.
Need a gimmick because people are home. They want shit. They want something to do.
Want something to do. So you buy this DVD. You have the core story, but I could have 3 separate different endings.
Yeah,
I'll be willing to spend the $15 for the disc.
Yeah, watch it. And watch the 3 endings. I did it with Ben the Statue. I watched it a few times. I did different endings. I was picking this. I was picking that. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's actually going. Yeah, I like that because it's like a video game. So I got you.
Remember Dragon Slayer was like that.
Dragon Slayer. Oh man,
that was my jam. That was my game.
Dragon Slayer. I love that game. That game was That was the first 75-cent game that I ever saw. I think it was like 75 cents.
I kept plunking quarters into it, man. It was worth it.
Yeah, I know. It was worth it. It was worth it. And that was one of the best graphic games in the arcades at that time.
Yeah. It looked like a cartoon. It was like a human live action cartoon.
That's what it looked like. And then, do you remember the same company made a game called Cliffhanger? Do you remember that game?
No, I remember Space Ace. I remember Space Ace came after that.
That was them. But they also had a game called Cliffhanger, which was also same type of game. Boop, you have to pick the thing before and then you pick it wrong, it's like crash and you're done. So Cliffhanger was like
I remember Cliffhanger. It was like an adventure. I think it was Dragon's Lair too.
It was like a action pack type of game. Very good arcade game, Cliffhanger. Yeah, I remember that. So
now how come they can't with the PS5 or Xbox? Why can't you guys give me Dragon's Lair? No, I'm serious.
They're beyond that now. That's what it is.
That's the point.
Now they got freaking virtual reality games. Yeah, make a Dragon's Lair with virtual reality. That would be great.
Exactly. Let's really, if you're really gonna do it, let's really do it. Because Dragon's Lair was what our technology was about in like 2011, 2012. It came out in the 80s. But we had to do it. But now you got these brand new Xboxes and PlayStation 5s. Yeah. Give me Dragon's Lair. Throw in with the VR goggles. Really
throw it in there. I mean, I think they should remake a lot of these older games. But what we're gonna do is say goodbye on air before we lose everybody. We definitely want to thank everybody that came out. Maddie holding down the chat room. Jimmy Ace who came through. Joseph, of course. Shout out to earlier in the day we saw some other cats that was in there too. Everybody that came through, heavy hitters that came through.
Happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Happy Thanksgiving to all you. Happy holidays to all you. Whatever y'all celebrate, happy holidays to it. Thanksgiving, you guys be safe out there. Continue to wear your mask. If you're not wearing masks, start wearing your mask. And make sure, just make sure you just stay safe, man, and have a safe and happy holiday to y'all. Don't eat too much. Don't eat too much turkey, man.
No turkey.
Don't have too many motherfuckers up in your house because that's when coronavirus start creeping in. Yeah. So, all right, y'all, we're gonna say goodnight to y'all. Thanks again. Next week we'll be right back at you. Peace.